Ah, wow. That's good. Oh, hello. You've caught me drinking coffee. Imagine that. What's happening out there? Oh, wow. Oh, I just went to the NAMM show. Nobody knew how it was going to go going into it. Was it going to be a dud? Was it going to be amazing? Was it going to be somewhere in the middle? It actually ended up being really, really, really great. I because I'm assuming this is probably what some of you out there want to know about first NAMM show since something happened over the last 2 years, right? And was it going to be, good show? Is the concept still viable and all that? I tell you, the human element was really, I would say there was 75% or 80% of the traffic of a normal NAMM show, because it felt like less people, but maybe 60%, maybe I'm being optimistic, but more like 70 or 75. And I think really, and maybe 50% of the vendors. So it was really about the people that wanted to go. Because I'm sure some of you will ask me about gear there and, what I saw and what was cool and all that. But it wasn't really about that. I didn't find it was more about the people. So even some of the folks that went, I'll use Guillaume from Two Notes as an example, the owner of the, company Two Notes. They make great, impulse responses, load boxes, etc. And I've known him for many years, and he just said, "Man, I want to support this because I just can't do everything over Zoom. I want to see people in person, and like I want to support this thing, and so that's why we're here." And everybody that was there kind of had that same attitude. I think that it was like really great to see people and talk to people and have that interaction and stuff. So in a way, it felt like I'm sure most of the people that went will echo me on this, that it felt like a bit of a like a cathartic kind of like, seeing your friends again, and just like really, I had a great time. I have to say, I had a really good time. I went Friday, Saturday, and I just had a really, really good time overall. So I hope folks go back. I know it's expensive, and I hope that the powers that be at the National Association of Music Merchants, work with folks to make it affordable to go and reasonable to go, and make it enticing to go, because the reality is I don't think for a lot of these big companies, I don't think they have to go, so you got to make them want to go, got to give them a reason to go. And if it's too cost prohibitive, at the end of the day, it's business. So anyways, that's that. But I'll answer any questions you have about it, if you guys have any. But let's get into some questions and stuff. Hi, Paul. Paul says, any word on when your guitar course will be coming out? Look forward to it. It's supposed to be in the fall. I don't have an exact date, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I want to see how it turned out. Somebody else is doing all the editing and stuff. So, but it felt like it went really well. So it should be coming pretty soon. Tellyman says, I would have liked to see Sir Fender Gibson. Yeah, me too. In the case of Sir, I just know that they're in such a good place right now as a company that it's like, had they gone and like they're in this position where they're making as many guitars as they can as fast as they possibly can. So that's one of the reasons why folks don't necessarily go there, because it's like, well, like it's not that we don't want to, it's that if we do, we're gonna, like, it's a quality problem, right? They just don't have the they're doing great. The bandwidth is at 100%, and so I'm sure it's like we'll see what happens maybe next year kind of thing. So I don't know if that's the case with Fender and Gibson or those big companies. I heard through the grapevine, somebody told me that Fender said, we'll never go again. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I heard. And it's like, if that was the case, it'd be kind of sad. Although I will say this, somebody said yesterday that, when Fender goes, they've got an amazing booth and it's really great and it's awesome, but it sort of sucks some of the air out of the room for the smaller vendors. And that was the one thing at the NAMM show this year that was really interesting, was it let a lot of the smaller companies shine. Folks that do need dealers and need to sell more guitars and need to get out there, and, the companies you may not have heard of, that kind of thing. those were the ones that really, they made the effort to go. And I think it was a real positive, I got a lot of positive feedback from them, but yeah, we're really glad we're here. We did really well, I'll say the folks at Rev Amps, they had a brilliant marketing strategy, which was they had hats made. And it was pretty much like, I swear, it was like 40% and 50% of the people were walking around wearing a Rev hat because they were free. You get a hat, you're not going to like put it in a bag or like carry it all day. You're going to put it on your head. So it's like, it was like a Rev advertisement walking around. It was kind of funny. But anyways, so on Thursday night, we did have a great dinner with all the Sur folks, and that was so nice. And the dealers that came, because not all the dealers came either. It wasn't just about vendors. It was what some of the dealers didn't come this year. And a lot of the Sur folks showed up though, and we had this great dinner down in Orange County, and it was really, really nice. And it's the 25th anniversary of the company, so congratulations to the nice folks at Sur, all my friends there, my family, on the 25th anniversary. And they showed the new signature models that came out, which you guys, talk about that a little bit. My guitar was one of them, along with Andre's guitar and Ian Thornley's guitar, and for James Ivani, of course. They brought out a new P bass. Who am I forgetting? There was another signature guitar. Oh, Reb, of course, Reb's guitar, which for the first time, Reb Beach got a signature, official sort of signature model. I didn't know that he didn't really, like, you could order a Reb spec guitar, but it wasn't maybe in an official signature model, with the signature on the back of the headstock and all that stuff. And now you can get that. And that's really, one of the sort of the guitars that sort of started it all for that company. I feel like one of those, the Koa, Single EMG, Gold Hardware, Floyd Rose kind of situation, Paul Farrell fingerboard. I think it's amazing how much I remember about all this stuff. I know the wood fingerboard on Reb's guitar. How do I know that? I don't know, but it's in there somewhere. Anyways, this is mine, and in a new color that you guys haven't seen yet. Whoa, it's garnet red. Look at that. Oh, come on now. Sexy. So I just picked this up the other day when we were at the dealer dinner. I haven't even really played this guitar, and it looks just gorgeous to me. Look at that. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So you can see why I went with the ebony on the fingerboard, because it just, it's an aesthetic more than anything. Although I do love the sound, like I was talking about with my good friend Ian Thornley last week. The way the attack, is fast, and the notes just fly off the fingerboard and all that stuff. But there it is in garnet red. So it'd be two more colors too: ocean turquoise and the graphite, sort of graphite black metallic. And I'm excited to check those out as well. But anyways, that's the red. What do you guys think? Cool. There's a nice thread on the gear page about it. It's been getting some nice comments and feedback and stuff. And I'm really excited about it. I am. Red and ebony, sexy as hell. I agree. Yeah. Thank you guys for Mark says, cool. It's amazing. Thank you, man. Thank you. I wish I could just have it sitting up here. I don't have anywhere I can put it. I'll just leave it here for the whole show. I put it in the thumbnail for the video, but I love this color, man. This is a car color that I actually found online, the garnet red. And so ages ago, I found it, and I was like, let's do, this looks great. It's like a sample that I found online. So the paint manufacturer, they were like, all right. And we ordered it. And, candy apple colors can be difficult, like candy apple red and stuff, because of the metal flake and the gold with the red and everything. And it's hard to spray and stuff. And it's difficult. So we wanted to find a color that was basically really similar, but easier to paint, like the paint process and stuff. And that's where I found this. And they were nice enough to go, all right, we'll check that out. And they went and ordered it. Look at that. Just when you hit the, come on. Damn. I don't know. I love guitars, man. When I got my first guitar, that's what I used to do. I used to look at it and move it around, just like look at it and go, this looks so cool. So I'm a crazy man. Crazy. Yeah, Eric says ebony's the only other fretboard wood he likes besides maple. I think it's kind of similar. Honestly, you saw Eddie Van Halen, go to ebony. And he sees maple boards all the time. You know, I think there's a similarity to the hardness. It's not necessarily exactly the same sound, I don't think, but there's the feel is certainly, you know, of ebony and maple can be similar with it because it's a, you know, tight grain, you know, and all that. And, so it's an interesting thing, but I've been after a really good HSS Strat for some time now, and your signature looks like the guitar I've been dreaming of. Cool, man. Thanks. Yeah, I hope you get to try one out. You know, and the neck is fun on this guitar. That's one other thing I will mention is that if anybody had complaints about my signature model that's existing, which by the way still exists and stuff, and I will still use and love and enjoy and stuff. It's just, you know, two different guitars. You know, so that one's still available as well. But this guitar, if anybody had complaints, it was the neck on the other one, the Even C Slim. Now I love it. I'm comfortable in different necks and stuff, but the Even C Slim for me it's a great neck shape. But I did sort of take to heart that some people were like, oh, I like a bigger neck. I like a bigger neck. And I like bigger necks sometimes too. So I was like, well, let's try a bigger neck on this. Why don't we do the neck that was on my Cactus Green Classic S? So that's the one with the matching green headstock. I've used it for years in videos. I got that guitar back in 2009, I think. And it was right when I joined Don Henley's touring band. And I needed a good, you know, 3-single kind of guitar, classic, you know, Strat style setup. And that was a shop guitar. It had been ordered by somebody, and then they didn't take it because they wanted a different jack or something. I think it either had it's got a front jack and they wanted a side jack or something. So anyway, it became a shop guitar, but that guitar is really beautiful. It's got it's at home right now, so I can't show it to you, but it's what am I thinking of? Brazilian rosewood fingerboard. That's what I was trying to say. And just a really, really great neck and everything. The neck that's where this came from. I brought it to John. I said, what about this neck? It's a little wider, and it's got a little more meat, and it's still like really comfortable in the shoulder and stuff. It's not too like old Strat. Like my old 64 Strat is like this. It's got not too much in the shoulder, you know, so it's got these nice kind of contoured shoulders, and it's sort of what that means is a bit of a soft V, like right down here, just a little bit of a V. And you know, people think of 50 Strats as being the ones with V's. Well, my 64 has a little bit of a soft V to it too. And it all depends on who was in there with the sandpaper that day, you know, and shaping the neck, because they were all done by hand. So anyway, the Cactus Green guitar I brought to John, he felt it and he goes, you know, I think I hand shaped this neck. So that made a lot of sense to me, because I was thinking, well, it's kind of like my 64, which obviously done, you know, when they get in there in the shoulders and you hand shape it. John evidently used to go in on the weekends, he told me, and many times he'd just go out in the shop and pick up a neck and then get into it and kind of like, this one, what if we do this and make it, you know, and he hand shape it. And he felt it. He goes, I think I did this one, just from the way that it felt. And so anyways, it's a little bit of a soft V all the way up, I would say, to around, right about here, the 6th or 7th fret. And then from there on out, it just becomes, it's pretty much like a nice C. It's like a 60s kind of C. It just has this really killer feel that I've always loved since I got the guitar, you know, so I've had it well over 10 years now. And so I thought, let's do that on this. And, you know, maybe other folks will like that too. You know, it's a real kind of, I want to say 50s into 60s sort of like really great feel, but of course still with the modern radius and, you know, big jumbo frets and all that stuff. So it's a hum single hot rod machine. Fun. I'm very excited about it, if you can't tell. But thank you for the super chat there, JB Blues Guitar. Appreciate it. Yeah. What else have we got here? Let's see. I'm just going through the chat. Caught your Soldano Mini demo earlier. I'll answer this and I'll go back to a couple because you guys have some other questions about the guitar and stuff. But do you know if the power section is the same class D as the B? Yeah, it's the same power amp. They use the same power amp in all of those. So it's basically like different preamps to kind of voice the amp, I think, you know, closely to the, you know, the original sort of distortion channels of the original amps. And then they use that class D power amp and put an effects loop in them and stuff. Yeah, they all do sound a little different. Do you remember the maple board Les Paul Studio and SG from a decade or so ago? I think that was around the time when there was a rosewood, maybe it was the CITES or whatever they called it, the wood problems, getting woods in and stuff like that. And they used some alternative woods. They used to use maple on Les Pauls occasionally in the 70s too. Like I remember my friend Jordan from the band Blink of the Star, he had one of those 70s Les Paul customs that had a maple board, maple neck, maple board. An interesting thing, totally kind of different guitar, but yeah, pretty interesting. What else have we got here? 40 Watt Podcast says, hope NAMM was awesome. Super bummed not to make it out there. Yeah, it was really fun, actually. A great time. Really good time. Excuse me. I'm still getting over a cold. That's this is there, and I have this cold. I took COVID test. It's not COVID. I've got a head cold, like where it's just God, man, since February, since I got back from Classic Rock Show, I've had 3 colds. I think. I went 2 years without a cold. Now it's just like all the time. We wore masks everywhere for 2 years. Imagine that. The masks definitely work. Because like I didn't get a cold for 2 years, and I think I've had 3 since February. Not wearing a mask and stuff. Yeah, brother. It sucks. When I get a cold, it just lingers and lasts forever. It's a drag. So NAMM was also a bit of a petri dish this weekend, so we'll see how we do. I think I'm going to wait till about Wednesday and then take a COVID test and see. I've got some stuff next weekend. I've got a gig and stuff, and so I think 4 days from now, I'll take one of those rapids and see if I'm all good or not. It's a little bit of an experiment. I must have shook 1,000 hands easily over the weekend. I literally like hand sanitizer and everything because I try and, I do that at NAMM anyway, like the NAMM Thrax, regardless of COVID and everything. So the hand sanitizer and like somebody be sticking their, hey man, sticking their hand out. You're like, dude, I've got hand sanitizer all over my hands at this point. You do not want to shake my hand, but it was like that the whole, and I love I love it, but it is like, okay, it's like, it's a lot, It was really fun meeting everybody. Like, God, everybody's so nice. Like I met so many people that were so I could tell like folks that were coming up and just saying hello and stuff like that. They were so stoked to be back at doing something, meeting people again, and it was a great vibe overall. For artists, for the vendors, for the dealers that were there, for guitar fans that were there and stuff. It was good vibes. Good vibes. Good vibes. Good vibes. Did you see the new Mammoth rig rundown? No, I didn't. That's cool. I'll check that out. I actually saw the Premier Guitar folks last night at the Marriott and talked with the main dudes there for a few minutes outside, and that was really nice to chat with them for a few minutes. That was cool. Recently played a V-shaped neck and was surprised in the comfort and how it rests in the cusp of the thumb. Yeah, it's got a really nice, V's, a subtle V. I don't like the real hard ones, or if they feel like they were, because I don't think they weren't cut on a CNC or something in the 50s. So it's when they were hand done and they've got a little bit of inconsistency to them and stuff that they feel really cool, But now with a CNC, I mean, you can kind of take a neck like that and copy it, and then it's really interesting when you digitize them and stuff. So, what else we got here? Could you talk a little bit about the locking Wilkinson bridge on your guitars? Yeah, and incidentally, I saw that they just brought out locking saddles for their original bridge, so the original Wilkinson, that kind of really, the sort of thinner looking tremolo, then I don't know the model number of it or anything, but you can get the same sort of saddles on that now. That's interesting. So they have a couple locking options, but yeah, the bridge is just a great sounding bridge with these killer saddles that you lock down with the little Allen screws on the top of the strings. It's one extra little step you got to do when you're changing strings, but the tuning stability is fantastic. Yeah. All right. What else have we got here? Floop-de-doo says, I saw Mitch Malloy left Great White. Yeah, my friend Mitch, he did. Anything cooking there? We shall see down the road, and no matter what, I wish Mitch, that was hard to say, all the best, in all the endeavors he does. And we shall see. What else have we got here? What are some of your upcoming gigs? Well, so I did actually get asked to go on the road yesterday, and I think that's going to happen. I shouldn't talk about it just yet, but yeah, I think I'll be out. I'll let you guys know. But it'll be my first US run in years on a bus with it's a great band of musicians, like really, really good players. Really, really good players and nice people and stuff. I know these guys, and so I'm excited about it. I'll let you know a little bit, within a couple weeks or something like that, as long as I get the go ahead to talk about it. But I was really stoked. It came together in about 15 minutes. I got a call from very organic, from a drummer friend. Hey man, you at all interested in this? And I was like, hell yeah, I'd love to do that. I think, and then he said, it's like this is the deal. And I was like, sounds good to me. And he wrote back, awesome, everybody's stoked. And I was like, great. And I was like, I'm going out for a month, so it's gonna be cool. I'm happy to get out in the US and do some dates. So it'll be July through August, and like I say, I'll let you guys know. And I bet some of you folks out there are probably in the towns where we will be, so gonna be fun. So more on that later. What else we got here? Let's see. The coldest coronavirus. No, it's not. It's because I took 2 tests over the course of when I was already, I was feeling a little sick, and I took a test, negative. Getting definitely sick, quite sick. Like rather, this is like 3 or 4 days ago where I felt like crap, and then negative. Anyways, I was trying to be as careful as I could at the show to not, give anybody my cold and be like, hand sanitizer, don't cough your hands. And this guy's going to shake your hand. All right, here we go. And then, so if I get anybody a cold out there, sorry, I did my best. Oh, brother. What else we got? Let's see here. Yeah, the UA Volt series is fantastic. So these are the new pedals, right? You guys want to see them? Because I have them here. Yes, I do. Just a sec. I'm going to get them. What do I do with them? They're in a Target bag. Classy, right? Classy of me. Let's take a look here. Let's start with this one. I think this is the one that I'm most excited about. Wait, how do you open these boxes? This is a true unboxing. Ooh. It's an interesting, it's classy kind of pink box situation. Ooh, it's nice. Let's see here. What's it say? Sing. It's really hard for me to read, but I like it already. Sing like the vaunted night jar. Brilliant tapestries of sound. Fill the London night with splendor. Splendor spelled with a U. Very British. Her name is Ruby. Ooh. Good job, you guys. That's a nice touch for the unboxing. There it is. Look at that thing. Just look at it. This is the one I'm most excited to hear. I have all 3 here, because of course, video time. Make a video. I don't know much about these. Like, I haven't watched any videos yet. I haven't had time. I was so busy doing videos right before NAMM for the little mini Soldano, the delay pedal from Laney, Black Country Customs, that I didn't have a chance to watch anything on these. But so I'm so intrigued. There it is. What do you guys think? You guys like gear? Talk amongst yourselves. While you do that, and I get some questions, I'm going to answer this. What colors are the scratch plates on the graphite and turquoise versions of your new SIG? So I think we're going to go probably with black on everything except for the Inca silver. That's kind of my intention. How do you feel about that? Do you guys think that's a good idea? I just think the black looks, the black looks terrific on no matter what, on everything with the ebony and stuff. It just looks really cool. The reason that I did I have the other guitar in a bag out there, but I'm not going to get it right now. The reason that I have this guitar, the Pearl, was this guitar. You've seen it. This is a classic that has the EMGs. I ordered this guitar in Inca silver because I always wanted something silver. This was my first silver guitar I ever had. And this guitar, EMG sent me, I wanted to put EMGs in a guitar specifically just to try them because I hadn't. They sent me this preloaded pick guard, and I thought, that's interesting. I wonder what that looks like. And we popped it on the guitar, and it was like, that looks amazing with that color. I think it's just really cool. I'm not a pearl guy usually, but it just looks so good on this guitar. I was like, let's try it on this new signature that we were working out, and I just think it looks really great on that. So that color I think is going to be the pearl. The other one, black. That's my idea. When I think about like ocean turquoise with the pearloid, I don't know. I'm sure it'll look okay for some people, but I think for me it might be a little bit too much. So David says, what about Shoreline Gold? I think gold would be really beautiful on this guitar, like really beautiful, but we decided to stick to 4 colors, and I wanted to do something new, so we went with the Inca Silver instead of Shoreline Gold. So maybe down the road. Is there a reason why, Arthur, this is a really good question, the reason why you went with a pickguard and not just a solid guitar with pickups in the wood? John, I spoke with this about him, and he said, I've never, like, personally, and they do it all the time. I mean, Reb's guitar has this, different guitars. I defer to John a lot and what his personal tastes are, because he's really brilliant. And he goes, for me, I like singles in a guard. It's just the sound of them when they're suspended in the guard and with a bit of the cavity in there and stuff is the way. He goes, I just always feel like that's the sound to me over the direct mount singles, So they make plenty of guitars you'll see with direct mount singles and stuff like that, and they'll do it, and they're cool, but and I'm kind of a traditionalist too, so the throwback to the 60s, the nod to kind of the, I like the look of a guard, and I like 80s guitars. I like, the Jacksons that came out with the singles direct mounted and all that stuff. That was the soloists and stuff. When I think about those guitars, that was cool too, and it's a cool look. But I just think for me, the guard is cool, So Sonic Blue, I like Sonic Blue, but yeah. I think Ian Thornley's new signature guitar has no pickguard. I'm not sure about that. I think Ian's does have a pickguard, doesn't it? At least for one of the pickups. And the other one might be mounted. And then we can take a look here, because I know it's on the Surus site. No, it's got a guard. That's Ian's new guitar. So one pickup direct mounted, and then the neck and the other not. Is that the first Sir Sig with an ebony board? I don't know. That's a good question. Might be. Yeah, it could be. Steve Vai researched the guard direct tone. It adds an air. I think so too. I think anytime you've got a cavity, I mean, having a tremolo cavity in the back and the springs and the tremolo bridge adds an air. I think there is something to it. I mean, there's a little of a semi-hollow thing going on in a Strat, there just is, because you've got a cavity in there. So, and that's the sound we get used to, So, anytime that you deviate from that, you get something a little different. So maybe it's just that we're used to it. Is the new signature wired for auto split in position 2? Yes, it's auto split, and series parallel on the tone pot. Yes, so it has all that. So. There's all that great, switching you can get on this guitar. So this is, full humbucking in the bridge, series parallel, depending on what you want. And you push-pull the tone, right? This is going to split and give you the inside coil of the humbucker and the middle. And then, of course, you got the standards, middle, these two, this one. So it's very versatile. Very versatile. And in the video that we put out for it, the one just a minute and a half little, the first introduction video, you're hearing me use the neck and middle together at the beginning, and then the neck. I can't remember exactly how it goes after that. I come in with the lead, and I think I'm on the neck, and then I go to the bridge. So you hear all those positions. You might not hear the split position, but the split position is cool. It's great in that video. That's great. Is it candy apple? It's actually called garnet red. Yeah, I was talking about the paint a little bit earlier. It's a car color that I found online. I just love it. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to talk more about all this stuff. JJ's got a question about interfaces. Now looking to figure out what happened to his interface. It went bust. Geez, man, I don't know. What is it? I know you use UA, but feel some deep DSP is going to be unnecessary. Yeah, I mean, UA makes, they've got their little, the small interfaces. What are they called? Spark, I think. And then, Apogee makes great stuff too. I'm a big Apogee fan. I love that company and I love UA. I'm friends with all those people. So I think it's hard to go wrong with either. And if I got an interface, pretty much at any price level, it would be from one of those two companies. So, just because I believe in them, and so I would look at offerings from them, and they make budget stuff that goes, it's all the way down to a few $100 or something on up to, full blown professional stuff that people use in big studios to make records. So I don't think you need to look further. Dave says that he wishes on these pedals that they would have put 3 amp models in one pedal. Makes it seem like a bit of a money grab. Well, I don't know about that. I think that they just went a little bit more like think of these as a pedal version, maybe a pedal preamp version, maybe of the Fender Tone Master, Deluxe Reverb or Super Reverb. They went for that. Like, let's do one thing, simple. Somebody likes a Fender amp. Like, I think you're supposed to use this kind of on your pedal board as your amp, as you would if you had a cool old school amp with pedals to augment for gain and for delay and everything. You know what I mean? And that's the idea. And I like that simplicity, actually. Hey man, if you want to, to get 50 different amp models or 100 different amp models, you get a Helix, right? So it's just a different vibe, where I guess, you want 3, you can go with the Iridium. It's just a different aesthetic. Like somebody's like, I love AC30s. I love Fender amps, push by pedals. Well, that's the idea with these. So it's just a different concept, you got to pick a way to go when it's like, here's the dream one. This is a 65 reverb amp, it says. So this is a 65, I guess, deluxe reverb, I would assume, is the vibe. Should we check this one out? It's got a little spiel too. Let's check out the spiel. Sweet yet clear, the long exhale of springs soaked in vibrato, a slow buildup from the perfect dream. Do you like my voiceover? That's pretty good, right? Oh, I got to get close to the mic. Let's do it one more time. Sweet yet clear, the long exhale of springs soaked in vibrato, a slow buildup from the perfect dream. I'm such an idiot. Okay, I like it. I like this whole, they're telling you what to expect before you even get it out of the box, let alone plug it in. It's cool. Look at that thing. Dream. Come on now. Looks cool. I can't wait to plug this in. I'm a fan of this. These guys the company's great, by the way. The people are great. They're really sweet. They're cool. James Santiago, big part of designing these, I think. He's a cool guy. It's all good. It's good stuff. What's not to like, for God's sakes? All right. But very nice packaging, too. I like these boxes. This is cool. It was Apple that made the presentation. It's fun. You buy something, you open up the box. Oh, isn't this elegant? Ooh, you take the plastic off, and it's kind of like, ooh, I like this experience. It's nice. I like that that's become a thing. We got one more we'll do later. We'll do another unboxing in a minute. It's so goofy. Unboxing. It could be goofier. That was sexy, Pete. Not. Want to listen to the dream. What else have we got? Let's see. Sounds like you're selling some KY jelly. I love you guys. You guys are great. Suspenseful. We have so much fun on this show. Thank you. On a sad note, I guess Alec John Such has passed away. That is news that a few of you are saying in the chat. That's sad. I remember that fellow from the early days of the Bon Jovi band. That's too bad. Man, a lot of people lately, man. I mean, passing away, and just kind of like, just in my life that you hear about, so-and-so's had a heart attack, so-and-so's not well, anyways, I'm sorry to hear about Alec John Such. Saw him with Bon Jovi in 1987 or 88 in Calgary at the Saddle Dome. I remember I drove down from Edmonton to go see Bon Jovi down there. It's the only time I've ever seen them. But let's see. Did you have a hard time matching the humbucker to the single coils? So this would be in my new guitar. Not really. It's going to be louder, but here's the thing. On a guitar that has a series parallel switching on the humbucker, you can, if you haven't tried it in your own like Particicaster builds or whatever you've got, give it a try. A series parallel to me works better, at least on a bridge pickup, I think, than a coil tap for the most part. I don't mind tapping the 2 position, but with the pickup by itself, when you switch to parallel, it's about the same output as the singles. So if that's what you want, you can do it. But I kind of view it as a on a hum single as an advantage that you can kick into the bridge and get louder. I mean, that's kind of the point, is that the bridge pickup is, kicks a little harder and you can get a variety of tones out of the guitar. But if you want to get that matched output, pull up that tone pot, and then they're all about the same level, honestly. So Davis PG says Thornbucker 2 looks so good. Congrats on the design. Really stands out. Thank you. Yeah, and you can get that pickup in a standard if the window cover is a thing, but you can get it in a standard just you know what I mean? Like however you want. I think it'll be offered in the nickel cover and all that stuff if you want to do that, and you get different looks with it. It's kind of nice, I think. Yeah. Let's see. Almost sound like that guy that used to do the previews between movies at the drive-ins. That's interesting. Okay, what else we got here? Calgary, says Craig Thompson. Hey, Calgary. I must say, Edmonton beat the Flames. What's going on in that series with Colorado? I haven't been paying attention because of NAM and everything. I've been away, but I saw the first game. That was an exciting hockey game. Anybody watch the Edmonton Colorado series? Edmonton won against Calgary. Hey, it's the old rivalry, the 2 teams from Alberta, and I was proud of my Edmonton team. Lots of love to you, Calgary, but hey, come on, I gotta root for Edmonton. Anyways, I don't know what's been going on in the series with Colorado. Does anybody know out there? Has anybody been watching? I watched that first game and they lost that first game. So, but Colorado looked like Edmonton losing bad, unfortunately, says Joe. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I haven't been paying attention then, because that would be depressing. Colorado did look, they're up 3-0. Really? Ooh, is that right? 3-0? Man. To be fair, Colorado was the as far as the rankings go, they were the clear, and so everybody was saying maybe Edmonton's the underdog and stuff, but man, they put up a good fight with that, the Calgary series. And I don't watch a hell of a lot of hockey, but when Edmonton gets in the playoffs, I watch, because that's my hometown. So I don't know, I get excited about it. I'll start watching again. One of these years, I'm hoping they'll take it all the way, win the cup again. We shall see. Okay, when will your guitar be available? Well, it's available now to the dealers for order. Now, when it gets into stores, that's another question, but I'm not going to I can't tell you. I'm not 100% sure, but dealers, there's been a heck of a lot of them ordered. I'll tell you that, because the guitar went to dealers before NAMM to let them get great order. So it's going to get out there. I just don't know exactly when. I can't tell you exactly when. It's going to be a minute, but that's a quality problem. So you're an Oiler fan? Me too, since 1980. I'm from Kentucky. Yeah, I grew up in Edmonton. So, I was there all through the dynasty. I used to go to the games with my father. We had season tickets, so I would go, and I was at the Stanley Cup game in 1990, I think, when they won, when Gretzky had left and Messier was the captain, and I was at that game, and I always remember Messier skating around with the cup at the end and holding it up, and the city went crazy that night. And, it was a source of civic pride. I was never a sports kid. I was a musician geek. I could skate. If you're from Edmonton, you can't skate, you really got problems. I could skate. I couldn't skate backwards, but I could skate. I used to go skating pretty often. I never played hockey on a team. wasn't that good, but you know, it was cold as hell in Edmonton growing up, and hockey was a big deal in Edmonton, and it was a city that, you know, it was a working class, blue collar kind of city back then, and you know, still is to a great degree, and it was this, you know, it put the city on the map. I think really hockey, you know, hockey, and I mean, there was a time when, you know, Edmonton had the soccer as well as the Grey Cup, you know, which is Canadian football, as well as the Stanley Cup, all in the same year. It was the, you know, it was you know, it's the city of champions. That's what you drive in. Welcome to Edmonton, the city of champions. It said so on the sign right outside the city. That was the civic tagline or whatever, you know. So, anyways, sport. It was a big sports town, that's for sure. Still is a big sports town. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Stealth Parrot says Oilers 1 game away from out. Well, maybe they'll stage some crazy, come on, guys, rally. It'll be some great story. I don't know. Sorry, this isn't a sports show, but I don't know crap about sports, really. But I do watch hockey every now and then. What type of magnet do Thorn's buckers use, and what's the DC resistance? Well, that question is complex because we use 3 different magnets now, depending on the pickup. So the original Thornbucker and Thornbucker Plus bridge version are both Alnico 4. Thornbucker neck is Alnico 5. Thornbucker bridge, new one, Thornbucker 2, Alnico 2. That's why we called it Thornbucker 2. I mean, we had the Thornbucker Plus, the Thornbucker in the neck, you know, and then the Thornbucker 2, Alnico 2. And what's the DC resistance? Right about 9K. So when I did that, the inspiration was the Eddie Van Halen pickup Shootout. When we did the big Shootout with all those different pickups, tried some great pickups from Duncan and Pariah and Bare Knuckle and all these different pickups that we got, you know, and tried them all out. And I was gravitating pretty hard in that towards all these 9K PAF kind of variants with Alnico 2 magnets. So I said, what if we take a Thornbucker and do our wind, you know, wire wind, all that good stuff, because it's a slightly different wind with the coils and everything. But we wind it up to about 9K and try Alnico 2. And that's what it is. You know, it ended up winding a few, and I just ended up loving it. It sounded great. It's killer. It's got the Alnico 2 to me, I've grown accustomed and fond of it over the last little while. And moved away from Alnico 5 bridge a little bit. Although, you know, the magnet isn't the only thing that affects the tone. You know, you do different wind, you match the coils or you unmatch the coils, you do all this different stuff, different wind pattern, you end up with different sounds. But the magnet's a factor. And the 5 sound can be really cool, but it's got a bit of a sharper treble thing going on that I've moved away from a little bit because I like bright amps. Generally speaking, I like Marshalls that are aggressive. I mean, you know, Marshalls, but my PT100 Marshall gain structure basically, but optimized, you know. But I've decided, you know, that I really like that. You know, I like the 4700 PF bright cap. I like it a little bit lean in the front end. I like the you know, from the amp. I just like it. It's cool. Makes it feel good. It's part of the feel. And I like all that stuff, but there's always a balance. So if you balance that with a pickup that's a little softer, you know, got a little bit of a, you know, on the top end, the treble thing, it can be a good thing, I think. So it's all this balancing act. So the Alnico 2, I've just been kind of gravitating towards. It's just a cool sound. A little bit of the spongier bottom end, but the rolled off treble just a little bit. It's still very clear and all that, but it doesn't have any kind of spike, you know. It's just got a sweet top. Cool. Yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys are guitar nerds. All right. King of the Fountain says, you have any experience with Blue Guitar Amp 1 line? Well, I know Thomas, and I hung with him yesterday at the show. So he is a sweet guy, and he's got a new thing coming out that is just, you know, he's been on a path with his, you know, it's a pedal-based amp, and he's had one out for a number of years now. It's a multi-channel that you can power cab with and all that, but also use direct. And we've got a new one that's very, you know, it's quite sophisticated in a pedal. And so he's a guy he's a great guitar player too, and he's got a vision and he sees it through. So I don't have a hell of a lot of experience with it, though. I do have one of his blue cab things here, and it's really nice. It's like IRs in a box, basically. but he's gone quite a bit past that now. So we'll see. Maybe one of these days I'll get to check one out and see where it goes. Do you see guitars coming in your? We see guitars coming in your door, but you thin out your herd every now and then. Occasionally, I sell things, but I'm not selling enough. I need to sell more. I should have a sale. Got a few things that actually, and I might do that by showing them on this show initially. That's what Dave Friedman thinks I should do that. He's like, why don't you talk about stuff on Sunday and then let people know it's for sale or something, and see if folks are interested in it, So, I don't know. What do you think about that? Is that a good idea? Should I do that? Okay. What's this? I don't have a JVM, but a Marshall DSL-40C, but it works well with that since the Ultra Channel, the Panama pedal plus EQ. You guys are talking amongst yourselves. That's not a question. That's from Eric. Let's see. Are the coils symmetrical? You mean like the same in my new pickup? No, there's a bit of an offset. We do a little bit of an offset line with Thornbuckers. It's part of the sound to me and it's in all of the models of my pickup that I really like. Have you ever met or played with Philip Sace? We've met, I do believe. We've talked over many times over internet. And sometimes when that happens, you're like, have we met? I think we met. Philip's a monster, sweet guy, seems like to me, good guy. And he, we both played in Melissa Etheridge's band. He's a hell of a guitar player, and I like his devotion to loud, and he's a ripper. He's an exciting guitar player. Let's see, all the way to the bottom of the chat here. What's the song with the weirdest title you've ever played during a session, gig, or recording? The weirdest title. God, dude, I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know. I haven't had enough coffee. I can't think of anything that comes to mind that's got an exceptionally weird title that would be interesting right now. But yeah, I think works for Book of X, says Telly Man. You mean putting stuff up on the on his show that he does on his streams? I should do that then. Yeah. Let's see. Dave is about to wrap a Jose mod on a 76 Marshall I sent him. Would love to hear your thoughts if you can take it for a spin. Inspired by this. Sure, I'd love to play through it before it gets sent back. Peter Laces. What's up, dude? I'll ask him about that next week when I see him, and maybe I can rock it for a sec. I'm sure it'll sound great. Sure it'll sound awesome. Let's see. I recently put a bare knuckle Mule with Alnico 5. Isn't the Mule usually Alnico 4? Was it a different? You put a 5 in it specifically? Sounded very brown sound like, then put the original 4 back in the Mule. Okay, yeah, there you go. You're saying it. And that didn't have the fine sizzle. Yeah, that's exactly it. A 5 will have more sizzle on the top end. But I think that, that depending on what your amp rig is and everything, that might not be what Ed did, And I think when you say sizzle, here's the thing, like the Eddie Van Halen sound was so different from song to song to song to song. I think, didn't Brian Wampler kind of show that in a video? Like when we talk about Van Halen, it's not all, you got that one characteristic amp sound, but from Van Halen 1 to Van Halen 2, and I showed that in the video. I mean, the difference between the super distortion and the, the 9K Alnico 2, I think, and then the 14K Alnico 2, those were all sort of Eddie tone. Here's the thing. I think that the super distortion thing was never his jam, although we love it. I think that loud, brash, big, full range, you really got me thing, I love it. But it is a bit of a one-trick pony, but it's a great trick. And I don't think that was his thing ultimately. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen him go so much cleaner on Van Halen 2. Less distortion, less. Although I think that pickup still is on Van Halen 2. I think Light Up the Sky is an example. But it is, we'll get into the whole Van Halen tone discussion. I think by then he'd moved away from the JBLs and all that, getting blended with the ceramic, So it just depends what you want, man. I love having all these colors around, I like having guitars with super distortions, and I like having guitars with a 9K Alnico 2 humbuckers, you know. So, did my super chat go through, says Zachary. You know, I haven't seen any super chats go through really for quite a while. I don't think so, Zach. Maybe not. Or maybe it's not working today or something. Maybe some sort of YouTube problem. Yeah, I'm going all the way back and I'm not seeing. There's just few went through today, so maybe there's, you know, who knows. I don't know. Yeah, all the way back to the beginning, there was just a few. So there might be a YouTube conundrum. Who knows? Let's see. Oh, there's one. One just popped in from Ibanez Tube Screamer. That worked. Pretty confident the Ruby pedal will motivate you to sell some gear. The built-in preamp boosts, room sound, and vibrato all kill. I can't wait to try it. Does it? I don't even know that, but does this pedal have the Brian May thing? I mean, as far as boost, can you do treble booster with it? Because I was wondering that about it. Boost intensity. Does it give you a switch or anything like that? I'm just wondering, you know, if it allows you to do like a treble boost sort of thing. So we got a few different types of speaker there. There's silver, blue, and greenback. That's interesting. That would be the right choices, I would say. You got your standard knobs on there for volume, cut, output. And then, of course, you got bass, middle, treble. It looks like secondary functions for the room sound, speed, and intensity. Cool. That's cool. And you can do all three channels, the brilliant, the normal, and the vibrato. Original kind of, was it bias vibrato or whatever? Is that what they used? Or harmonic? I can't remember on an AC30. It's got that lumpy vibrato. Oh, wow. Hi, Super Chats. The Super Chats happened. Thank you, guys. DeMar's USDs sound hard. VHs sound like beefed up PAFs on the first couple of LPs anyway. Yeah, if you watch Easy Rider, watch the video I did with the big Van Halen pickup video I made a while ago, and watch me playing You Really Got Me with the super distortion in the bridge of my Destroyer. And I think that's the sound, I really do. It's just that big, fat, distorted crunch of that song that was always like, what is that? It sounds like a distortion box. Well, I think it's the super distortion. And that's that sound, that he never really, that sound on that song, and then like a couple other, some other songs on that record too. But that particular aggressive fat thing is very unique to that record, I think. And it's because of that guitar, that pickup, before it got a big piece of wood cut out of it, et cetera, so. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna grab these super chats too. Has anyone approached you about signature pedals? I know you had a hand in the Carl Martin Plexitone, and that's incredible sounding pedal. Yeah, I helped them voice that. It was never a signature pedal. It wasn't like I got a commission or anything, but I did help them tune it in. That was before I knew I should have probably jumped on things like that. Sorry, but anyways, not always the most business savvy over here. But I love the Carl Martin folks. He's a nice guy. Soren, he's a good dude. Yeah, I've been approached a number of times, and I've worked on things. Just nothing that's never come out. It's probably time, right? So let's see if we can get some of these projects done. A huge congrats on another signature product from an incredible company. Thanks, man. Huge milestone. I appreciate that. Can you remind us of your favorite software for learning tunes again? Yeah, Transcribe. It's called. It's a small company, so it's a little hard to find sometimes, but the company is called Seventh String, I do believe. Seventh String, and the software is Transcribe. It's $50 unless they've upped the price, but yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for the super chat there, Javier. I would really recommend getting Transcribe. It's super great. I've been using it for years, and there's other ones out there, other phrase trainers, but it's the one I like and use. I'm just used to it, so I use it. Favorite Van Halen song to listen to and favorite to play? Man, some of the offbeat ones that are like favorite to play, Drop Dead Legs is really, really fun to play. Like to just settle into that riff is just like like there is no more satisfying riff to settle into with drums and play. I had so much fun playing that with Wayne on drums and Mitch and Dan. It's just a blast. And the way it soars in the chorus, you know that you want it, is just, what a great song. It sounds like the 80s to me, in the best part of the 80s, you know, the fun of it sounds like a summer night, like just having a good time with the top down and the weather's good and the sun's going down and it's like everything's good. So that is a really, really fun one to play. I can't think of a more fun one than that. I mean, I like playing a lot of those songs, but that's one you can really dig into and have some fun on. It's just a great vibe. That's the thing, man, is it's like the vibe, you know, with bands these days. And, you know, there's a lot of technical and playing guitar players and stuff, but that vibe, man, a groove and hitting a riff like that with a chorus like that, there's nothing like that to me. That is what rock and roll is all about to me, you know. And so that's a fun one, you know. There's not even a lot of guitar. I mean, the guitar playing and that's the Eddie's magic, is that the riff through it's musically really cool, but it's also just badass as far as the groove and the feel and the mood and if you can do that in a song, then you got it made, you know. So it's good times, you know. That'd be my favorite, probably, to you know, the 1984 album is right, I would say, when my obsession with guitar was coming to its full peak, you know. And so even though I had started listening to rock and music and stuff a few years before that record, probably 81, 82, you know, when 84 came out in 83, because it was released just, you know, when it came out, I was 13 or 14 years old, and it was just starting to peak. And that record, I just wore it out and listened to it so much. So a few records from that era. My friend Kim Mitchell, Akimbo Logo, is another one that I wore out right then. It came out right about the same time. You know, and I know every note on that record. I know every note on 1984. You know, I love the whole six pack and later stuff too, but that record will always sort of resonate with me at that point when I was 14 or whatever. Like, you guys all can think back about your favorite record when you were that age, and, you know, what really you wore out the LP or the cassette, you know. I was talking to somebody yesterday is the fellow from Evertune Bridges at NAMM, and he was mentioning that you could see the grooves on a certain Van Halen record. I can't remember which one, if it was Van Halen 1 but he said you could see the grooves on the record worn out where I had tried to learn the solos, you know, where he would just play that part over and over and over and over and over again, you know, when he was a kid on the LP. But anyway, we've all got those records, and for me, I guess 1984 was probably that, you know, that was just the one that was my intro to really becoming obsessed with. So yeah. Yeah, do you know if Sir has any ETA on the Discovery delays? Geez, I don't know, man. You'd have to ask them. Yeah, that'd be a good question for customer service. I don't really know that. Sorry. Did you see the gold Satch Ibanez at NAMM? I didn't. That's probably really cool looking. I didn't see it. I was at the Ibanez booth, but I for some reason I didn't see that. But I heard they had a cool like rooftop party thing on Friday night or something like that. I didn't get to that. I did go to a fun thing last night. I got to thank my friends at Eventide. It was a very busy night last night at the NAMM show, and I was a little late. I got invited by my friends at Eventide to the Tech Awards dinner, which was really fun. Fred Armisen was kind of the host, and he was so funny doing this whole he was so funny, like he was playing acoustic guitar at one point, saying, here's acoustic strumming styles from all over the world. This is the way the Brits do it. And then he'd sing and play. It was more than just strumming style. It was like he'd sing and play. It was so funny. Like, here's the Brits, here's the Americans, here's the Canadians, here's the Irish, here's what the Norwegians do. And he had like a different thing for every country. And it was really great. And Susanna Hoffs was there. You know, I saw a good friend of mine, Rafa Sardini, is amazing producer, engineer, mixer. He was presenting, and Sylvia Massey, and it was so awesome. So it was a sit-down dinner and cocktail kind of affair. And I got there late because I'd been hanging with Paul Davids and Rick Beato and Rhett Scholl and all these great guys over at the Sheraton. And I thought, this is hard to leave because these are all my friends and stuff, but I've been invited to this thing. I got to go. So I went over to the Tech Awards thing, and it was really fun too. It was awesome. So there was just so much to do. So thank you, Eventide, and Ray at Eventide for having me over there. And I'm sorry that I was only there for 45 minutes or so. It was really nice you guys to invite me. I'd love to go again because it was a really nice event. Tech Awards is where they give awards for, like, you know, best plugin of the year, best mic pre, or like different things like that. It gets really geeky. And Fred Armisen was like, this is the greatest award show ever, because he's a musician nerd, you know, as well as a comedian actor. But anyways, have you ever played a I'll get these super chats here, I see up there in just a sec. Have you ever played a Seriatone Chupacabra? No, but I would be interested in it. Is that the kind of Jose mod one? I think there's two, right? There's the Yeti and the Chupacabra. I haven't, man. The only Seriatone amp I've ever heard in person is my friend Ichiro from Japan. He has a Dumbly one that he was using. I heard that amp sounded really good, but I've never gotten to, you know, I've never even spotted one in the US. Never seen one. So okay, what do we got here? Christopher Butler. Hey, man. UAD is trying to tempt me with the Friedman Buxom Betty Unison plugin on sale for $74. Would it be a good virtual pedal platform? Yes. It's basically a Fendery clean. So, yeah, I would say so. If so, can the PT100 plugin I already own do it as well? Kind of, yeah. I mean, the clean channel on the PT100 is killer with pedals. So, the PT100 plugin, you know, it's like, I use it all the time like that. You know, you can hit it with drives and everything in the front. It'll sound great. So, it's going to be down to cab choice a lot too. So the IRs that you pick, you know, you might want to pick a 112 open back or something to use if you want to get a true sort of Fendery combo thing, or not, you know, whatever you think. Some of the cabs that I did with UA, my favorite overall is the kind of 73, 74, 75, those presets in the numbers of, you know, in the numbers. Those are the PT212. Those sound great to me overall. But there is some other ones in there that are a little thinner, and they're more the open back cabs that we did. You might want to pick those for more of a combo kind of character. Excuse me. Keep burping. Anything that stood out at NAMM? You know, they weren't displaying, but those UA pedals are pretty cool. I saw other stuff. There's something I saw that I signed an NDA for that I can't talk about, but it's really cool, and it's going to be a big deal when it comes out. So I can't talk about it, but so that sucks kind of because I can't tell you. But believe me, you're going to like it. Sorry. Other than that, you know, some of the things that were released, like the UA pedals and the my guitar, were from people that were not displaying at NAMM, you know. So, but one thing I can think of that was really cool, looked really great, was the new 2 Notes pedal, and I'm going to forget the name of it now, but it's a preamp pedal with 3 channels, clean, rhythm, dirty, and I think it's a Fendery clean, like a Bassman, Marshall JMP, Soldano on the lead, and it's a 3-channel preamp that also has their cab sims and stuff built in that's meant to go on a pedal board. It looks really cool. I haven't heard it yet. I've heard it. It sounds really good. And, you know, you'll be able to do my Dynar IR pack in there, of course. Got to give it a little plug. But it looks really great. There's a bass version too. And these replace the, you know, the clean and the lead and all that, those preamps that they had. And these to me are actually much more of the way that these preamp pedals are thought out seems to be really really good, and exactly what you would want out of something like that. So something to think about. Yeah, I'm missing some chats here. What else we got here? No, maybe I'm not. Let's just double check here the super chats. Give me 1 second here. Let's see. Normal channel has the Brian May boost built in on the Ruby. That's great to know. That's James is a smart guy, and I guess he wouldn't have missed that, you know. So Joe is saying there's a super chat lag. So if any of you send super chats, I'm sorry about that. If it's weird today, you know, we'll see if they pop through. I hope they do. And then you don't, you know, I don't know. I'll take you all out for a coffee if not. All of you at once. let's rent out a ballroom and we'll have a good time. Y'all gotta fly though. I'm not buying your airfare, so we'll meet at one spot. It'll be great. We'll have a good time. Oh yeah. Didn't Ed do an advert for the Super Distortion? That would be something that I've never seen. Did he? And you know, that would be really interesting to me if that's true. I never saw him do anything for DiMarzio Super Distortion, or at least I've never seen it come to light. If it's something you've heard of or somebody can find out there, that would be interesting. But I would have seen it, being as big of a nerd as I am. Speaking of nerd, I saw my friend Caleb from Nerd Halen, so I'll give him a shout out at the show, the Ernie Ball booth, and he's a nerd and he's in Nerd Halen. Thanks, Pete. Have a drink on me, says Cole. Thank you, man. I appreciate the super chat. You're too kind. Thank you very much. I never understood the craze over Dumble amps. Well, a few great players used them. You know, when we think about Larry Carlton, Stevie Ray Vaughan, that's enough right there to create a mystique, right? And if guys like that are leaning into it and going, these are great, you know, and they weren't expensive per se back then. Sure, maybe a little, but it's kind of like a train wreck, you know. They were, you know, maybe a few thousand, 4 or 5. I don't know what they were originally. I guess it's a lot of money in the 80s or the 90s, but it's certainly more an Fender or something, you know, but they weren't like $50,000 or $100,000. So these great players, you know, using them and then recording some killer stuff with them, you know, was what it took. That's enough to create the mystique. If you get a great sound, no matter how you got it, through whatever you're playing through, and you record some legendary stuff with it, it puts it on the map, and then people will want that 20 years later, 30 years later, and they'll want to, you know, like, can I purchase it like lightning in a bottle? Can I put enough money down to, you know, and rock stars are fans too. So somebody like a John Mayer or a Joe Bonamassa, or, you know, they become famous later, they make money, and their goal is to get great sounds, and they're fans of those records too, and so they do it, and then they record great things with those sounds, and that's how it happens. So when you say you don't understand it, it's like, okay, but Larry Carlton, you know, or Robin Ford, you know, Robin Ford did, you know, when he's, you know, I mean, how, you know, people talk about blues lawyers or whatever. When we talk about, you know, the Blue Line, or, you know, Talk to Your Daughter, you know, it's like that stuff in the 90s had a big impact on a lot of guitar players, on a lot of guys, on a lot of men. And a lot of people wanted that sound, and it's, you know, okay, let's be honest, it's, you know, 90% it's in, or 95% it's in Robin's hands and his heart and his head, his musical choices. And he would make a Fender with a, you know, a pedal probably sound as good or really similar, but his choice for some reason is that Dumble, right? And so that says something. When you have the kind of the guys that are the Larry Carltons, the Robin Fords, the guys that are considered legends, that are the under the radar legends, you know, but they are legends, you know, and they've done legendary stuff, and people that are in the know, whatever, like guitar players, if that's your thing, you know, and they go pay money to go see their shows, you know, where there's, you know, even if it's in a club or something, there's a couple hundred people there, or there's, you know, the Landows, and that really drives, that's a whole, there's a powerful thing, you know, that undercurrent of guitar geekery, and it, you know, there's a sophistication to it too, to that music, right? To Larry Carlton and Robin Ford, that lends itself to the sophistication of, when I say sophisticated, I mean, it's like, it's adult chords. It's music for, to some, I mean, they've got younger fans too, but, you know, there's a lot of like middle-aged or older folks that are well-heeled that listen to that kind of stuff and really dig it. That's their jam. Robin Ford, Larry Carlton, and they worship that, you know, and they have the financial means to get the amp that guy's got. So I think it's that, you know, it drives that market. It's a specific market. It's not, it's interesting how there's different, you know, guitars become very, very, very broad, and there's a lot of niche. You know, you've got your Polyphia, and you know, gent, and, you know, you've got your you know, bands in these different genres and the gear that they use and stuff, and you know, headless guitars, and you know, you've got your you know, Animals as Leaders, you know, and Tosin, and the, you know, the guys playing the headless instruments at 8 strings and 7 strings. It's amazing. And many times it's axe effects. And I've talked to Tosin about it. He's like, for the kind of things I need to do where I go from this sound to this sound to this sound, he goes, I can't really do that with an amp. And that makes a lot of sense to me. You know, that an axe effects or something in that genre, that technical with the big changes in tones and really dramatic, like an axe effects, that's the perfect thing for that. So those guys that are really, you know, passionate people in those, you know, fans and stuff, and they're gonna go after that thing too. And the XFX 3 is like the ultimate way to get there. That's what the heroes use in that genre, and it's a totally different niche than the Robin Ford and Larry Carlton kind of, you know, Dumble and that thing. It's a totally different thing, you know, with a different fan base, probably broadly, you know, a different ways and means, you know, kind of income level and stuff like that is what people can handle, you know. So it's just interesting, you know, that how people use different things and gravitate towards the different guitar gear and stuff. It's so broad, you know. That was a hell of a long-winded bunch of BS that I just let out there. What's the best direct recording solution for guitar or bass? Well, best, you know. Once again, there's a lot of niche in this, you know, and it's hard to pick a best. The best direct recording solution. I mean, do you? It really depends on like how you want to roll. Like if you're like, yeah, I don't really want a hardware modeler. That's not my bag. I want to do it all in the box. Can I do it with plugins? Yeah, you can. I mean, there's a lot of great plugins. There's Neural DSP, you know, Helix Native, all these great plugins that you can use to just record guitar that way. The PT100 from UA, you know, I could use that to record entire record, no problem. You know, I think so. There is no best. Because maybe an Axe Effects is your Helix hardware is your way to go because you want to tweak, and then you also want to take that thing on the road, you know, and have that thing to, you know, or a floor, you know, the Neural DSP. I haven't even mentioned the Quad Cortex, you know, I love that thing. You could work with that thing your whole career and make records, and so it's really hard to pick a best. It would be more like, tell me what you want to do and what's important to you. Well, I want to take the tones on the road too, or I want to have it portable, but I also want to record direct, where I don't care about any of that. I'm only going to play at home. I'd love to do it all with a laptop. Well, then I could make recommendations. These things could be your, hey, I just love AC30s, you know, and I want to go direct and wish I could get that sound. Interestingly, like there's not a lot of plugins that do AC30. There's come on now, Membrini has a really nice AC30 plugin, but there's very few of them, you know, out there. So plugin companies, you should be doing AC30s because it's the one amp. It's such a brilliant classic amp, and there's not a lot of boutique versions that are really good, I don't think. I mean, I've got a Top Hat sitting right there. That's a great AC30, you know, but there's not a lot of them out there. There's a hell of a lot of Marshalls and a lot of Fender stuff, but there's not a lot of great Vox out there. You know, why doesn't somebody make, I mean, probably somebody does, maybe Third Power, but you know, a great like AC15 with the EF86 front end, and then into a great AC30 with all 3 channels on the other side with a Brian May sort of boost built in and the whole 9 yards, like all the Vox, you know, the kitchen sink Vox amp. Probably hard to do, but something that somebody should do. God, I got long-winded again. Do you guys like it when I get long-winded like that? Or do you wish I was more sort of pointed and direct when I take off on these tangents? I love what EVH gave us, but Carlton, Robin Ford, Michael Landau, Alan Hines all day long. By the way, I'll give Alan Hines a shout out. He gave me, oh, I thought I had it right here. I don't. I've moved it. I think it's over on the table back there. His new CD that I don't have anywhere to play, but I listened to it on SoundCloud because he sent me a SoundCloud link. It's really good. He's got a very nice new guitar record out. Mr. Alan Hines. I'll give him a shout out. Great tones. I've got the Divided by 13 RSA 31, and it's a monster Vox flavor amp. I have one of those too. I've got it. So where is it right now? It's not in here, but I had it here for quite some time. I've just, I get fickle, so I switch things out. But anyways, long-winded is fine, says Richard Garcia. He's folding laundry. I like that you're folding laundry. I need to do that. I need tomorrow morning. I need to clean up my house, so that's going to happen. So folding laundry. I'll listen to somebody should do a show on Monday morning so I can fold my laundry and listen to this kind of stuff tomorrow. Amplitude Brian May. Okay, there you go. There's one plug in, but there's not a hell of a lot of them. I don't know. Like the UA doesn't have one. They should make one. Neural DSP doesn't have one. Didn't think I'd see a pedal UA product. Well, they've had their golden reverb out and their echo and stuff for quite a while now. They've been out for a while. They might have just flown under your radar, but yeah, they've had pedals for a couple of years. What else we got here? 30-second summary of how I learned how to play guitar. My sister had a nylon string because she was in a guitar class in high school, and she brought it home, and I learned how to play a few things on that, Stairway to Heaven, and a couple other things. I remember I scratched Ozzy into the front of it, which my parents and her were not happy about because they had to return the guitar. That happened. And then I got my first guitar when I learned how to play I Can't Explain on a rented Area Pro 2 that was blue with 2 humbuckers. My friend Bob showed me how to play it. And then I had the bug. That was it. What are my thoughts on the Kemper? It's really good. It's an industry standard in the pop world. I've got one sitting right there. I think it's really cool as a tool and as a device. And you can bring a USB stick somewhere and rent one and plug it in and get your sounds and go do your gig. I mean, I'm all about getting work done. So yeah, I got nothing, Kemper, they've proven themselves by this point. It's been out for over 10 years and it's done really well. So, yeah, that said, I wish there was more of a license-based thing for amps, wish it wasn't like the Wild West as far as copying amps. And I wish you could, folks that sell them and stuff, I wish it was all licensed through, the original. If you do a Friedman one, you license it. He gets a little kickback for coming up with the thing, and then they use the name Friedman, something. I don't know. Anyways, I know that exists a little bit with some. I think there's, Michael Nielsen does some with Friedman, I think. So, anyways, but I just wish there was rules but it's the Wild West a little bit. Speaking of Larry Carlton, have you seen or tried any of those Sire Larry Carlton guitars? Seem to be getting great reviews and reactions. Well, I've never tried one, but I've seen one. I've seen Larry play one at the good old Baked Potato about 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half ago. I saw Larry. It was Travis Carlton's birthday, his son, bass player. And for Travis's birthday, what he wanted to do was have his dad come to LA and play gigs at the Baked Potato. I think that's really sweet. So they put together a great band. It was Toss Panos, Travis on bass, of course, Larry, and an unbelievable guy playing sax and singing. Can't remember who was on keys that night, and I should remember, but I just don't. But I'm sorry about that. Holy hell, the guy that was singing and playing sax, though, he was unbelievable, and I don't remember his name right now either, and I should. But what a great band. It was so cool. It was really great. And that was the only time I've ever seen Larry live. And growing up in the 80s, I was a rock kid, I was AC/DC and Van Halen and all that, but I appreciated Larry Carlton, and I had a couple records and used to listen to them too. I didn't have the bug like some people and went full on into it, and maybe I should have, because it probably would have developed my playing a little bit more than listening to the metal guys that I did and everything of the day. But I've always liked Larry, and it's a lot of those tunes. Like, I'm not a aficionado where I know all the songs and everything like that, but some of the songs that he played that night, I'm like, oh man, I remember this song. I haven't heard this for 35 years from when I was a kid and listening to it in the 80s on the records that I had. So seem to remember, like, maybe there was Miles and Miles of Smiles and Smiles or something. Wasn't that a Larry song? And I seem to remember him playing that night. That might have been the song. But anyways, I got a crap memory. Jeff says, I tried the Ernie Ball 9.5 gauge set. You like it? The Primos. I really dig that gauge. Okay. How do you rate Thorpe effects stuff? I don't know those as of yet. And once again, I got a crap memory. I'm sorry if I'm missing something that I have played but don't remember. I don't think I have. Damn, Pete, answer our questions. We are lucky to be able to do this with someone of your status. Hey, my status. I'm insane. My insane status. I'm happy you're here, man. I'm happy to do this with you guys. I'm lucky to be here with you guys. That's the way I feel, honestly. Oh, this is interesting. Ooh, Arthur says, drama. I like this. Hey, Pete, last week I watched one of Yngwie's cabs fall off his wall of cabs and slam into Phil X's guitar rack. It wasn't pretty, but they were all still fine. No broken Gibson necks. Ooh, I bet Phil started moving his guitars away after that a little bit further. That's gnarly. Man, imagine if they all went like dominoes. That stage is insane. So crazy looking. Crazy looking. Okay. Eric says that he ordered a Sir that's similar to my signature model a while back. Very similar. Congrats on it. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. Will Sir come out with a guitar that targets more metal players out there like the Schecter and Jackson do? Like, you mean more like Crazy Shapes or something? I mean, they do have a lot of guitars that are kind of, they've got 7 strings, and they've got, the Sir Modern is kind of a metal classic at this point that even Ibanez and stuff are copying. And you even see Charvel and stuff going after, so that shape, I think. So I feel like they kind of pioneered that with the sort of more elongated horns and stuff and the 24 fret. But they've got the new Andre Neri. He was a very nice guy, by the way. I met him and his I believe wife, not girlfriend. I think they're married at the show, and they were really nice people. This guitar looks really cool with the new inlays and stuff. Kind of flat black. See that? Look at that thing. So that's pretty progressive, I would say, metal oriented. But maybe you mean more like a Jackson Kelly or something. I don't know. So I don't know about that, if they would ever do that. Ooh, there's a super chat for 1984. Dude, love it. Reza, thank you. Do you know what acoustics Eddie played on the original Van Halen recordings? Spanish Fly. I heard it was a borrowed nylon string on Spanish Fly. I don't know what, but it wasn't his, I don't think. Take Your Whiskey Home. No idea. Could this be magic? Could this be magic? No idea. Little guitars on the intro also say, like, yeah, what was it the same? Yeah, I don't, dude. I wish I knew. Nobody talks about this, but it is kind of fascinating. Maybe Spanish Fly. Maybe one of these. Didn't Nancy Wilson give him a guitar? I thought Nancy Wilson gave him an acoustic guitar because he didn't have one. And they talked, and he said, yeah, I don't have one. And then she got him one. So maybe it's that. That's a legendary story, I think. Was the little guitar intro the same guitar as Spanish Fly? Probably not, but it's interesting. So thank you so much for the 1984 super chat. But look into the Nancy Wilson story. That might explain some of it. If you do a little research into that, Google Nancy Wilson, Eddie Van Halen. I bet you'll come up with a little bit of info. Robert says, I saw Stu Ham do this joke at a gig once, and it was great. He said, hey, I just signed a great big record contract with Columbia Records. Yeah, 2 free CDs a month for the next year. Yeah, pick 10 now, and then get pick 10 now for what is it, a penny each or something, and then only pay like whatever, buy 10 over the next year or something. Yeah, the Columbia Record House. Anyways, thank you for the super chats, you guys. If you're pretty old, if you know what I'm talking about and you remember that joke, you're at least as old as I am. Any experience with Lynx or Prism interfaces, recording interfaces? No, man. Sorry, I don't. My experience, the interfaces I've used would be UA, Apogee, Focusrite a little bit, and I have some experience with those. PreSonus. That's all I've ever used or owned. many years I used an Apogee ensemble. That was my first real good one. Well, good though. It was, cheaper. Was a PreSonus. It was good. It worked good. Moved from that to the ensemble. That was a step up and all that. 8-channel, 1 rack space. That was sort of a staple for a number of years from Apogee. And then I went to the UA Apollos sometime in probably about almost 10 years ago. And I've used those ever since. And now I have an Apollo X8P and Apollo X8. Is that what I use? Apollo 8P. That was the first one. And then I got an X8P. And now I have them ganged. And I use them both together for the processing power and stuff. And if I ever needed more than 8 inputs, which I never do, but at a time. Yeah. I guess this is what talking about here with the metal guitars. Multi-scale 7 and 8 string, but with a Sur neck profile. Is that what you're talking about, Sur Newing? Yeah, I mean, they do have a 7 string. I don't know about multi-scale. Do you mean fan fret? Could be. That's what you mean, maybe. Just a comment. I saw Cruel World Fest. This was a festival, the Rose Bowl, just a little while ago, which is in my town of Pasadena. And I kind of wish I'd gone, but it's a lot of bands that I didn't listen to growing up, but that I really appreciate, and especially more now. Bauhaus ruled. Daniel Ash is an underrated legend. Peter from Bauhaus. This is a little bit of ancient history here, but I was asked to tour with him solo. And I didn't know that much about Bauhaus, and I feel bad that I didn't know that much about Bauhaus. But he did a solo tour, and I listened to his solo record back when. This is going back to about 2004. I was asked if I would tour with him, and I went and listened, and I knew of them, and I knew, but I didn't know the catalog really because where I came from and stuff. But evidently, he was aware of me somehow. And wondered if I would go on the road, and I was totally into it, and I wanted to, and it never ended up coming together, and I don't remember why. But now that I think about it, it's like that would have been cool. And then I saw Bauhaus opening for 9 Inch Nails in 2005 on the With Teeth tour, and they were great. And I always remember Peter saying at the end of he introduced the whole band, and then he said, and I am just a figment of your imagination. And then he walked off the stage, and it was like, that was friggin' cool. That was some rock star stuff. Yeah, really good. And they were really cool. So anyways, I kind of became, when you kind of become a fan through maybe getting a gig or a potential gig and stuff, you start listening, go, how did I miss the boat on this? This is cool. It was real cool. So anyways, that's cool you saw it. And yeah, Peter Murphy, from Bauhaus. So it was like, yeah, that almost happened. Like I was having, numerous conversations with management and stuff about going on the road doing Peter Murphy's solo band. So I never came up again. I never heard from them again, but and it's like, this is going back 16, 17 years, but that'd be cool, right? I mean, I loved it when I saw them in 2005. So it was really cool. What's the loudest show I've ever been to? Bob Rock and Rockhead at a club in Vancouver around 1991. I couldn't stay. I actually had to go outside, and in the parking lot, it was as loud as a regular gig in the parking lot. It was unbelievably loud, and I was like, I can't. But then they started. It was just like absurd how loud it was. And I love Bob Rock. And, I never thought like the guy from Paola's would necessarily have a rock band that was that loud, but oh my God, was it ever crushing loud. It was so loud. Like it was absurd. And I was used to going to see, I've seen Metallica and AC/DC and bands that are known for being like AC/DC is known now for being really loud, but it wasn't going to happen. I couldn't stay. I watched a song or two and then went outside and it's like, oh, we're going to go deaf. So, have you tried the new Sean Tubbs Rev pedal? Yes, I did a video for it on my channel. It's about 3 or 4 videos ago. One of the latest videos I did. It's really good. Really good. Mentioning Kate Bush here, watching Stranger Things, heard run in up that Running Up That Hill, sorry, by Kate Bush. She did a live version with David Gilmour. I haven't seen that, but I loved. My sister was a big Kate Bush fan, so I heard it growing up, and I've got a great appreciation for her. So she's awesome. Any thoughts on future release from you on vinyl? I would love to do that. Something on vinyl, weird colored vinyl. So I've got a number of picture discs and colored vinyl albums in a vinyl collection that I don't get to use anymore because I don't have a record player that works right now. But one of these days I'll get it together. But anyways, I love the whole, the whole concept of vinyl. What do you think of the FM3? Nice unit. Selling most of my pedals. It's really nice. Great, simple solution that does a ton of stuff well. Yeah. UA and Apogee are all Mac oriented. No, I think you can do. I don't know about an Apogee. I don't think so. I think everybody's, is usable on everything. UA you can use on PC and Mac, of course. Yeah. Greetings from Greece. Do you recommend the Wazacraft Dimension C for early studio SRV tones? Well, keep in mind that yeah, sure, but you would have to use it on a send on a console or use a wetter box or something to mix it in, because the thing is that they use the rack version in the studio with for those out there that don't know, the dimension effect, the Boss, Dimension D, I think they called it back, in the 80s. The pedal, it's like a purple pedal with 4 buttons on it, and it was basically a modulation sort of chorus box. It's also the Flesh for Fantasy guitar sound. There you hear it quite prominent. Stevie Ray Vaughan, they made a rack version of it, okay? A studio rack version of it. And Stevie Ray Vaughan evidently used it on Texas Flood to widen the sound and get a, bigger sound. So there's chorus on Stevie's sound, essentially, which not a lot of people know, but when you listen to it, it's like, oh yeah, it is kind of there's a wider quality to it on that record. But you're mixing it in via send on the console. So it's not that obvious chorusing really like mixed in real prominent, it's just a bit, so you would have to use a stereo rig and blend it in somehow so that it's not, because otherwise you're going to turn on and go, well, that sounds more like Steve Stevens on Flesh for Fantasy than Stevie Ray Vaughan, so yeah, that'd be the only thing I would say is, there might be easier ways to, not necessarily. I mean, I'm thinking out loud here, so I'm contradicting myself and talking in circles. But yeah, one way to do it would be some sort of stereo rig where you're running it in, because what you're trying to do is emulate a studio effect with the Stevie Ray Vaughan thing, and it's sort of hard to, it's coming post. So the most accurate way to do it would be to, in a live scenario, would be to have amps with effects loops and run it in the effects loop, but in parallel with a mix control, so that you could blend it in at the level that you want it at, and it would be just probably about right if you did it like that. But now you're sort of deviating from, Stevie obviously didn't use it live, so you're deviating from, by using an amp with effects loop, you're deviating from the Fender Vibro Reverb Dumble thing that he would have done in the studio, or Super Reverb, Those amps didn't have effects loops. You're trying to recreate a studio sound live is what I'm getting at. Oh, here we go. Thank you so much, man. You didn't even have to super chat for this, but I really appreciate your knowledge. Carlton gig was Larry, Travis, Toss Panos, good friend of mine. Paulie, is it Sarah? Or am I saying that right? I hope, on sax. That guy was unbelievable. And Greg Matheson, right, on keys. That's right. And Paulie was like, he was to me, like, Larry's amazing, and I love all those guys. I mean, they're killer, they were all great that night. Paulie was like, I'd never seen him, and his singing and his sax playing, the way he played sax was just like his blues voice. He was one of the best blues singers I've seen live, I think. And his sax was just an extension of his voice, and the way he phrased and everything. It was like he grew up, with the sax attached to his body or something. It was like, I was like, well, holy hell, like his phrasing and everything was like so brilliant. And I'm not like a big saxophone guy, it's like, but that was the thing that really, even with Larry there right in front of me, Larry was great. And originally somebody asked a question about Larry's guitars. I know he's playing this guitar. It looks like a 335 sort of, and it's like $600, and it sounded great. He struck me, that night as being, I think he was using a borrowed amp or something. he's just kind of like one of those dudes that's like, yeah, I don't like, I'll play and get my sound, and it's cool, you know. Yeah, I spoke with him for a while that night, and he was really sweet. I mean, he's a legend. It was like talking with him, and he was mentioning he was going to Hawaii and going to had a gig in Hawaii, and you know, he's going to take a few days there and enjoy. And it was this nice conversation. It was really great, you know, to meet him, and just a cool dude, you know, very cool. So, yeah. I've never seen Larry. Almost flew down for the gig. Yeah, I'm so glad I got to go. I mean, I had a how did I go? I was on. Somebody asked me, a friend of mine asked me to go, and I can't even remember who it was now. It was like, hey, do you want to go? Oh no, I bought a ticket. My friend was like, I'm going. I was like, I should go. That's what it was. And I was like, I should go. And I got online. There was a ticket available for the later show on Friday or something. So I'm buying this right now. It was, you know, $25 or something, $30 something. And I just bought it and went and ended up sitting at a table with a nice fellow that works at LA Vintage Gear here in town, and, you know, watched the show, and it was killer. So anyways, yeah. Okay. It's about 1:23. I'm going to go another like half hour or so, and then I'll jet, and I'm going to meet a friend for lunch and then get some work done around here. This is interesting. Chef Jeff says that the loudest show that he ever went to was Crazy Horse. Neil Young. That's cool. Man, they're great. The legendary Crazy Horse and Neil Young. You know, Corey from Corey from Chris Cornell's band plays bass with Neil now. And I'm so proud of him, and he's amazing in that. You know, he's in Lucas Nelson, Promise of the Real as well. That's his main band, but they back up Neil, and it's so cool to see him playing with Neil. So, anyways, good old Corey. He's awesome. He's a snazzy dresser these days too. Boy, has he ever got some cool suits and stuff, and hats and things that he wears. Regarding Steve Stevens, Pete, have you had a chance to check out any of his Nags signatures? Well, I have one right here. I have an SSC monocool guitar. I've got one right back there. There's a red, sparkle red one that I use it quite a bit, like in the video for the Mick Mars, Richard Fortus, Jose Marshall. You can see that guitar, that Nags guitar. It's a really, when I gotta have a hot humbucker guitar that's, you know, not a super distortion, but more like the hot, it's got, you know, the 14K kind of, you know, hot bare knuckles in it. I'll go to that one. It's a kind of a punch mid-bomb rock machine, you know. I'll use that guitar. It's great for that. It's my hot rod Les Paul, really, is what it is. That's how I think of it. Yeah. Let's see. Joe Neiman says that I once saw Mastodon play in Antwerp. The support act was Jason Newsted's band, and that was manageable in terms of volume. When Mastodon showed up, those Belgians had suddenly found the volume knob. I saw Mastodon about a month ago in Riverside, and I gotta say they sounded crushing. Like, not too loud. It was loud, but it was really good sounding. Like, who out there seen Mastodon? It was sounded awesome, actually. Like, the drums, and it was like they had a really, really good metal sound guy. It was not, you know, kick drums. It was like poof, like punch you in the face, like, and the snare and everything was just this manly, like bit, like full but clear, like really balanced. And the guitar sounded awesome, and everything sounded awesome, and it was just like coming at you like a freight train. Like, but it didn't strike me as I had a dB meter actually, and I checked because I was like, I wonder if this is like crushing like this, but it's actually 100 dB because I've always interested. Sometimes I check I've got a pro dB meter on my phone or whatever, but no, it was actually 105, which is pretty, you know, weighted and everything. That's pretty loud, but it sounded like it didn't hurt at all. It was like killer, like really, really, really good. I really enjoyed them actually. I'd never seen them live, and I don't even know the records that well or anything, but I've always wanted to see them because I'm intrigued. And my expectations were definitely met. The nicest thing about Mastodon was actually the drummer, I have to say, after the set came out and did this real heartfelt, like, when do you see this? They walk off stage, usually they're gone. He came down and he talked for about 60 seconds and just said, hey, this is our first tour back or whatever. And we, you know, we're just so happy to be here. And you guys we appreciate our fans so much. And doesn't it feel good to be here and just like everybody rocking out together? There's amazing energy. And he did this really nice speech that was so, it was just warmed the heart a little bit. It was really cool. So I thoroughly enjoyed this show. Yeah, great live band, says Joe. Really, really cool. Yeah. Great sound. What else have we got here? Let's see. Thoughts on a thin line telly with humbuckers. A couple of people asking about Nash guitars. I'd never played a Nash thin line. I've seen a few Nash guitars and seen them. They look pretty cool. Some of the Nashes to me, to be just a little critical for a moment, a little overdone on the relicking, and I like a little more subtle relicking. But my friend Greg Saran, who I did some touring with, he had one that he really liked, a Telly. That guitar always sounded really good, Yeah, he really liked it. He's a good guitar player. He plays on American Idol now. And so I always remember that guitar that he used. Seemed cool. Didn't look over the top either. It looked like that one looked really good. Anyways, thin line Telly. My only experience with one is my Sir Alt T that I have. It's got thornbuckers in it. I love it. It's got a nice airiness to it. I consider it a great kind of rhythm guitar, sort of a dual humbucker, versatile lower gain, because it's got, original thornbuckers in it. So it's got the lower gain bridge. And there's always a bit of an air to them, and it's cool, great for, if I was going to play the Stones or something and I want a kind of a 70s thing, I would go to that, pretty cool. No. Don't want to spread a rumor here. Joshua guitar. The Soundgarden bassist plays with Neil Young. No, the bass player that did Chris Cornell's solo band with me from 2007 to 2010, Corey, not the Soundgarden bassist, but Corey McCormick plays with Neil Young now. He's also the bass player in Lucas Nelson, Willie Nelson's son, and The Promise of the Real. Great band. They're really cool. It's a nice story how they ended up playing with Neil. Neil was, there was it might have been Farm Aid or something. I can't remember, but it was like some kind of show like that. And Lucas was on it. Willie, of course, there's that connection. So Lucas was playing, and Neil somehow said, hey, I'd love to come down and play, something like that. So it was put forth that, well, why don't you play with my son's band, I think, with Lucas. I hope I'm getting the story right, but this is the way I understand it. And so he said, sure, have them learn like these songs or whatever. So they learned a few songs. Neil came down and played with these. They were really young then. I mean, like whatever, 30s, probably 20s, 30s. And here's Neil Young come sitting in with these guys, and they played, and he was like, this is awesome. I love these guys. Like, we're going to go on the road together. Let's make a record together, And it was this organic thing where, they met there, and then they have now made a number of records and gone on the road with Neil Young and been his band for a number of years. So, and they make their own records when they're not doing that. Pretty cool. So like the Eagles backing up Linda Ronstadt, right? And it's cool. So, here's a super chat. Glad I didn't miss that. Speedster NL today. NLT today. Anyways, would you use a King of Tone style pedal as a boost for a cranked amp or as a distortion in a clean amp? Well, people would use them either way, depending on the side of the pedal that you use. I mean, I think through a clean amp, both sides sound good. The boost side, the silver side is the side, or not the silver side, sorry, the low gain, the yellow side or whatever. Same as the Prince of Tone pedal. That is just an amazing sounding pedal that works great for a edge of breakup, organic kind of, really cool, crunchy thing. Not a Marshall. It's like its own thing. It's that smooth kind of, it's not super smooth though. It's got attack and not super compressed. It just is awesome sounding. So the clean side of the King of Tone, that's the side I really love. The other side is cool too, but I really love that clean side, and that's what I used to use on it a lot. When I had that pedal on my board, and I'd love to have it on my board again. Actually, I don't know why I don't. Maybe I should do that again one of these days. So, and I probably will. John says King's X in their club shows were so loud it made my brain itch. King's X can play pretty damn loud, yeah. And I had a good talk about that. If you want to hear about that, you've probably watched it, but the interview I did with Doug Pinnick that's on my channel. He talks about that and how they, you know, they sort of make the sound guy work around them, and you know, like their sound, and that's a big part of it. Is that, you know, he plays loud on stage. Ty plays loud on stage. They play loud. That's just part of it. And like, so the sound guy comes in and goes, "Oh my God, like how do I?" And they're like, "Deal with it." And that's how they roll. And I love that. I like that a lot. But you know, you better be good. That's the thing. You know, because I'll say that, and sometimes people bristle. Well, you got to work with the sound guy, and well, that's just a or whatever attitude. Blah 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 blah. You know, sound guy said that you didn't turn down. You should turn down. Sorry. The thing about it is, if you're good like King's X is, or if you're good like Government Mule is, if you're good, I mean good by good, I mean world class good, and if you're a good band like that, and that's part of how you get your sound, then that's the approach. The sound guy has no right to tell you what to do. You do what you do, and then they just come in and build around it. Now, if you suck, or if you're just average, or if you play at the same volume all the time, I get it then. Sound guy, yes, I can't work with this. There's nothing here. But if you've got a band like King's X playing as loud as they want to, and then you're like, okay, oh, wow, it's loud. And then you're just like, but it's friggin' amazing. Like, wow, do they ever sound like King's X? You know, you don't mess with King's X. Don't mess with King's X. Don't mess with a good thing. And I think most sound guys would probably agree with that. They're not going to mess with that, you know. Probably like Van Halen. Don't mess with Van Halen. Don't mess with, you know, AC/DC. It's like, it is what it is. Like, you know, it's supposed to sound like the guitar is peeling the paint off the wall. That's why everybody gets paid. That's part of your job, is to make the eardrums bleed. That is rock and roll. Don't mess with it. It's not supposed to be polite. It's not supposed to be convenient. It's not supposed to be quiet. The ears are supposed to ring, and it's somewhat dangerous. And if you don't like it, then don't go in the building. Thank you. Don't mess with Van Halen. Yeah, we should just start that, you know? Sad jazz noises. This is funny. A little Stanley Thorn just came to you. Oh, it's too loud. I don't like it. You need to turn the guitar down. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound good. How am I supposed to work? I can't even put you in the PA. You know what I'm saying? Screw that. Get that guy out of here. Pete and the sound guy have obviously had a clash. Oh, I'm just so used to it. I'm so used to the, you know, the like, I did this, yes, I did a little interview at NAMM, and somebody said, what's the worst piece of musical advice you've ever gotten? You'll see it coming out soon. And I said, the worst, it's not really advice, it's more like a command, but it's from the sound guy. When you go in and you hit a guitar chord and they're like, oh, you're going to need to bring that guitar down. I had somebody do it to me a couple of weeks ago before we even did a sound check. It was like, he's wiring the stage or whatever, you know, and you're getting things set up. He was a nice guy. It all ended up working out. But anyway, it happens a lot where you hit a chord on the guitar and they're like, oh yeah, you're going to need to turn that down. It's like, Jesus, I'm 50. Like, can you just like wait until the drums start? Can you wait until the bass starts? Can you wait until you hear how loud the singer sings? If they're like, or if they're like, wah! You know, can you wait? Sorry about that. But you get I'm trying to do this for dramatic impact. It's like, wait until you hear what we do, and then tell me to turn the guitar down. And maybe not even then, because I have done this before and it's going to be fine. I am passionate about this. It's going to be fine. Everybody's going to come. They're going to have a great time. And I promise you, it's not going to be like, that guitar player sucked. You know, sorry. You know, it's not going to be like, it was awful, the guitar sound, you know, look at all this crap. Like, I've done this before, you know, so just let me do my thing. Can I just do my thing? Once you get to 50, do your thing. Can I just please do my goddamn thing? Like, and then leave me alone. Just leave me alone and let me do my thing, and you do your thing. Work around it a little bit. I guess it's the King's X thing or whatever. Like, after all this time, I'm sorry, I'm getting really worked up. I'm gonna have a heart attack. I should calm down. But you know what I'm saying? Can I just do my thing, please? Let me do my thing. I heard a drummer say it great once. He was on stage. It was a great band, a rock band, Viper Room. Sound guy I knew too, and I like him. But he used to tell people to turn down a lot. And he was telling the drummer to not hit as hard. And he was like, tell him, like, if you hit the cymbals that hard, like if you can't play that hard in here in this. And he goes, dude, if I don't play like this, I'll get fired. This is why they hired me. and that's it. It's like you don't mess with the band to the point where it's not you don't have the right, to, like, maybe they won't sound good that night, but leave it alone. Like, don't start. You're not the friggin' musical director. So I love sound guys when they just get it, like, like when they're willing to don't tell. I won't tell you, and I know it's like my thing infringes on your job if I'm getting in the way, but there's a fine line between, I guess it's like this. I don't mind if everybody's playing, and if we're all playing, and it's like, and then if it's just like, okay, look, here's the thing, the guitar is just like, if you can just bring it down a little bit over there, like I get like right on the hairy edge of like, can you, then I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. I can, if it's like killing the whatever, the room from this angle or whatever, let's work with it. But please, just please, for God's sakes, all that is holy, don't tell me before we start playing. Like, before you hear how loud the drummer plays on his acoustic drums that can be here or be 120 dB if you're standing right by the snare drum, or the singer who, you can have Wimps, or you can have Sebastian Bach, who, believe me, I've done the Viper Room with Steve Stevens and 200 watt amps, both just blistering loud, because that's how Steve rolls. He doesn't turn down, and so you got to play at that level, because otherwise you're going to hear yourself. So, all right, I guess we're going to be this tonight. And then it's just, and Sebastian sings, and it's like louder than us. Doesn't matter how loud we are, because he's Sebastian and he sounds like a freight train. It's just, he's got the voice, it'll cut through. Like, just bring the PA up and there he is. He sounds like, it's like he's loud as hell. So don't tell anybody until you hear it all. And then if there's a problem, like, because, it's just, you got to work with it. Don't try and mold the thing to your musical vision before you hear what the thing is. It's almost like pulling up the faders on a mix. Yeah, that's okay. Like, imagine this. You're going to mix a song for a band. You're a mixing engineer, and you just pull up the guitar. Oh, we need to do this. We need to EQ. We need to, this guitar. But you haven't heard anything else. You never listened to the vocal. You never listened to the drums. You never listened to, you're just listening to the guitar sound and the way it's coming out of the monitors. Loud. Pull up that one. This definitely means we got to carve this and do this. No. Like, pull everything up and listen to it. And then, okay, now we need to make adjustments. Well, that's like telling a guitar player out of context. It's out of context, So, anyways, I love, I've worked with a lot of sound guys. I love. But how many guys have told me before we play as a band to turn down the guitar? Here's the thing. The guitar is an obnoxious instrument coming off the stage out of a 412 cabinet and a Marshall kind of amp or whatever. It's an obnoxious instrument on its own. It just is. It's obnoxious sounding, A loud violin is an obnoxious sound too, because of where it exists in the mid-range, but you put it in context and then it works, because you got to surround it with everything else. So the bass can be really, 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 really loud, as long as it's not got the cutting guitar frequencies in it. It can be really loud, the low end, and it won't hurt in the same way a guitar, like an AC30 can be just so like beamy and like, oh my God, it'll make your eardrum go like this, on its own. And then if you're standing right in front of it. So, and it's only 30 watts. So that's the thing about guitar. So until you hear it in context and everything starts, the lows start band masking and the cymbals on the top end, the cymbals are the loudest goddamn thing on the stage, when the guy's crash riding, it's just like, that will make you go deaf. So until you surround it with the other things, then it's time to say, okay, the guitar is just like insane on stage right now or whatever, compared to all these other things. So what I like to do, okay, now I'll play devil's advocate and flip it a little bit. As a guitar player, if you don't have plexi panels or you don't have, an attenuator or all those things, what you should do is be realistic and go down in front of the stage. Hopefully you've got a wireless or a 25-foot cable or something, and walk in front and listen with the whole band playing, and maybe even have somebody else play, like, if you can, because there's a weird thing that happens when you're playing where you don't have the same perspective as when you're listening. So, when you got to concentrate on playing a little bit. But I can tell when I'm playing. I can tell. So anyways, I'll go down front and I'll go out and listen in front of the stage. And then I can be like, okay, I'm a little like, this is crazy. I either need to angle my cabinet, or I sound like I play loud all the time. I don't even anymore, it's like within reason, but you need to listen and go, I could stand to, turn down a little bit or whatever, or modify my sound a little bit right now, or modify my cabinet angle or whatever. All these things you can do to kind of mitigate problems. And then then you're like working with the sound guy, on it. But I guess my big pet peeve, or just the thing I'm trying to get across, is don't tell me before we start. Let's start and let's all play. Let's all play together, and then we'll work on these problems, But please, when I hit one chord, don't tell me you're going to need to turn that down with an attitude like that before everybody else plays. I just fucking hate that. Sorry, but that's how much I hate it. It's just like, I want to go home when that happens. I don't want to play. Okay. I've never played a real 59 burst. We're going to move on from that. I could go for like 3 hours on this. I'm very passionate about it. Don't tell Jimi Hendrix to turn down, You didn't tell like Brian May to turn down. They played loud and it was part of the thing. Let people just do their thing, for God's sakes. Never played a real 59 burst. Have you? Yes. Number of times. How many have you gotten? I don't know. Probably 10 or something. How different were they from each other? Pretty different. I played it's not a 59 burst, but I played a like 57 or 58 gold top, all black plastic. I remember that one in particular. I remember Brian Ray has had a couple. I think I played one. And it was like really new, like it was been really preserved, and it felt amazing, and was like it was like, God, this is like a new R9, but not. It had the old guitar feel, but it was like in that kind of condition, like mine, 8-year-old or whatever. Well, now it's not; it's older than that. But at the time, 8-year-old R9 or whatever was in way worse condition than this guitar, and so. Anyways, that guitar felt great. Some of them don't like blow me away. I played a couple at Emerald City Guitar up in Seattle. One in particular that maybe some people out there might know this guitar, but it had divots in the neck, really, from somebody that had played in first position a lot and wore rings. So it had these lumps in the side of the fingerboard. That was kind of cool. That guitar had obviously been used, a lot, but it was. Anyways, that was really cool. I played, really nice, pristine ones. I played super beat ones. I had a 54. So that guitar I used on my first record that I ever made when I got record deal and stuff. So it was a 54 gold top. So I've had a real 50s Les Paul. That was a great guitar, and I sold it, and I'll never forgive myself for that. But anyways, some are great. Some are like, it's cool. I don't think it's $185,000 cool, but it's cool. But, it's just like the worth of things, But other ones are like, yeah, you play a few. Richard Fortas has one I'd love to see, because he swears it's like, the angels singing and the heavens parting and all that. So, hello, Pete. Good show. Selection, blue or greenback for Vox AC15? Got to be a blue. I don't really. The greenback thing is cool. It's a cool tone with the Vox, but it's not the real sound to me. The speaker is such a big part of the sound. So Eric says, love the rant on the sound guy. I'm real passionate about it, but I get upset about that. Drives me crazy, but hey, those guys have got a hard job. They do sound. It's the guys in the clubs that have the hard. Most sound guys I've worked with on on tours and stuff. I mean, Classic Rock Show, worked with a couple different fantastic sound guys on that. They're both real sweet. Kevin from Melissa Etheridge's band, who's the fella that mixed. I mean, he was Leonard Skinner, Journey. Like, he was really, really great and worked with me on guitar sounds, and he was the one that introduced me to the using 40-50 mics on cabs and stuff. Not originally, I'd heard other people use them, but he was like, yeah, let's try it, and it was the first time I got to do that. He was great. Both the fellows I had over as great you know, sound guy partners in France with Milan Farmer and with Michel Polnareff. They were awesome. You know, folks in Japan, they were always really professional. Got lots of great memories of working with, you know, great sound guys. It's the guys in clubs that can be, you know, I think they're just so used to people coming in with, you know, bad guitar sounds really loud or whatever, and bands that can't play dynamically, that, you know, it's got to be difficult for them. So their default is to yell or to be like, hey, you know, and give you some sort of instruction right out of the gate. A lot of them won't know. I don't think it's the thing where this should be the defining factor, but, you know, it's like, I'm not a household name in the way that somebody like well, let's take a Doug Aldrich. You know, I remember even Doug Aldrich going down to Sunset Jam at the Viper Room and him getting yelled at, you know, and I remember like the kind of the guy that ran it being like, hey, leave him alone. It's Doug Aldrich. Like, you know, I got him down here to come play, and now you're yelling at him to turn down or whatever. Like, let him do what he wants to do, kind of thing. And that's the thing. The guys, like the sound guys, should, like, at some point you just feel like, you know, can I just get a little bit of love, like, for like being in this business so long? And, you know, I'm going to go down to a thing, and then you get older, you're like, you're crusty. I could be home watching, you know, Breaking Bad right now or something. I'm going to go out to this jam and play or whatever. Now I got some kid yelling at me. You know, you need to turn that down. You know, I'm down here and playing for free. Like, just let me do my thing. Let me do it. Can I just do my thing? You know? I don't know. That's the way I feel. Axeman says, I love you. You guys feel my pain. You know, sound guy named Karen. I don't know, man. The volume rant made my day. Yeah, but we're old rockers, man. We you know, we're not gonna go out pretty, you know. It's like we're gonna, you know, we're not showing up with our modelers and playing the game, you know, with our pedals and our clean tones, you know. Sorry, you know, I sound like I want to play. I've got a 15-watt amp. I love my PT15, you know, just that thing is enough, you know. If I can do that and can I get that into the zone? 15 watts. Come on, work with me here, man. Work with me. Work with me. Good point here from Jack's guitar player says, oh, it's 1:49. I think the volume rant ate up the whole back half of the show. I got to go soon. But I got 405 people online. I don't want to leave you folks. Loud cymbals on stage, especially smaller stages, make it very hard to hear vocals. That's for sure. Yeah, a drummer that can deal with playing, like, you know, it's a fine line, because they're, you know, a great rock drummer, it's like you got to let them do their thing. That's part of the thing, you know. Keith Moon, you're not going to tell him to do something, you know. He's going to be Keith Moon. But a drummer that can kind of mitigate the crashes and the, you know, like, not like, I don't know if it's the type of sticks you use, the type of cymbals you pick. I mean, most of the great drummers I know that know how to control things like cymbal volume, they'll pick darker cymbals if they want to hit hard. Like, real bright, loud cymbals is just a vicious thing, you know. And it does get into every mic on the stage, and it's really difficult. A drummer that can kind of, you know, be a heavy hitter and stuff, and like, I mean, when I think about my friend Matt Logg or Charlie Paxton, or like these drummers I know, they're just, you know, great rock drummers, but they know how to work with the band and all that, and they can, you know, they somehow can be like, you know, ballsy badasses up there, and it's totally kick ass, but they aren't bleeding, you know, your ears to death like with the Crash Ride or something. You know, Matt Logg, he's this amazing drummer. Plays in the Dirty Knobs, Mike Campbell's band. He worked on my last record and stuff. I've done a number of stuff with him over the years. He's such a great rock drummer, and he's kind of like a Phil Rudd kind of, you know, he's got technical chops, you know, up the wazoo, but his groove and his feel is so wide that when he plays, you don't tell him to do, and he just, it's just like, you know, just, God, can you just keep doing whatever you're doing? You're amazing, you know? And so you want to be a good partner to that on guitar, you know? So like, however he does it, he can be really loud, but it's like, you just want to, I don't know, it's like listening to Warren Haynes play or something, or like I say, like King's X, you know, like, you want to aspire to be at that level where you're loud, but you're so good, people just leave you alone, because that's the rock and roll magic, you know? It's like you know, you're not going to tell Doug Pinnick what to do, you know, just let him do his thing, and he's freaking loud, but oh man, does it ever sound good. And Ty, you know, it's like, that's, I don't know, just aspire to get there and then leave them alone, you know. Leave them alone to do their thing. It's the beauty of rock and roll. Are mini amps a gimmick? Is there really a niche for them? I don't know. I mean, mini amps, like the little heads and stuff, you know, I don't know if they're gimmick as much as just kind of a fun thing and a useful thing for certain, you know, for jamming at home or a conversation piece, or I don't know if it's a gimmick. It's they're just fun. I try and not overthink it too much, you know, I think. It's not something, not everything has to be something that is like, oh, this is going to be the be all end all I'm going to sell my tube amps for and take it to the gig and use this as my main rig, you know, just kind of a fun thing, you know, that's what I think. Blood clot broccoli. That's a weird one. How'd you pick that? Says that he's going to work. Go to work, man. Thanks for being here. Simto says, you're back in Tokyo. Where do you eat first and where? I could eat an entire tuna sashimi by myself. Oh, dude, I miss that place too. Where do I go eat when I'm in Tokyo? First, let me just imagine it right now. Where am I going to go? There's a particular sushi place that I would go. Checking into my hotel. I'm going to go around the corner, go up there and grab myself a meal, and I know exactly where it is. This is Shibuya. Like, there's a number of sushi places I would go, but I would go get some great light sushi meal so I can hit the ground running. Generally, when you get there, it's like afternoon or early, you know, like 3 to 5 p.m., depending on the flight that you've gotten, you know, when you arrive and you're like jet lagged as hell, but you got to stay up here. I got to make it till 10 p.m. So going out, walking a bit and getting a great meal is a good idea. A light meal. Don't get weighed down. So sushi. Yeah. Do the sushi. Eric says, have to know, enhanced super chat. I know it said Eddie used a destroyer on Women and Children, but I could swear songs like Fools sound like a Les Paul. I don't know. I mean, how would we ever know? I don't know, you know. Listen for it if there's any tremolo. I mean, he had that one guitar that he used around 80, that custom, and he also got his bursts. He got a couple of bursts around 80 because he made some money, you know, and he went out and bought some guitars. So, but you do see that black, or is it the Van Halen 2 tour? It's either Van Halen 2 or Women and Children First that you see that white Les Paul custom on sometimes that he used. I'd love to know the story of that guitar. It's this guitar that shows up in photos, you know, but I never heard people say what, like there's no videos that I've seen of him using it, but there's plenty of photos of him using that guitar. You know what I mean? The white Les Paul custom. It's cool. Must have not been great or something for him because you never see it after that. But yeah. Let's see. Anybody else here? Let me do what I do. The kids will love it. Look at all this shit I know what I'm doing. Exactly. Did I say that? Is that what I said? I think that's probably pretty close to what I said. Leroy Bullock. I had a sound guy once. It's the same guy that was telling that drummer to play quieter too, but I appreciate him. We go way back. But anyways, I remember I had a whole 12-space rack at this point at a club, and I was playing, and he asked me to change something on one sound. He goes, "This is not, like, it sounds weird. It's not working or whatever." And I go, "Well, I don't know. What do you want me to do?" And he goes, "I don't know." He said, "Look at all that crap you've got down there." He said, "Do something." That was funny. I mean, if you know, I was like, touche, you know, the way he said it was pretty funny. He was an Irish guy. It was hilarious. I don't know. Look at all that, you know, like whatever. It's true. You look at some of these pedal boards these days. And, yeah, you should be able to, like, you know, looks like you're flying the space shuttle. Wasn't the destroyer sharked and unplayable by Women and Children First? Yes, but Eddie borrowed a destroyer from Chris Holmes for Women and Children First. So it's the red one that you see with the pickguard off. You can see the channel for the pickup selector and stuff on it. I guess in an attempt to get back to that sound, he destroyed his other one and he wanted to still have played a destroyer, get that sound. So supposedly that red destroyer, the Chris Holmes one, is the one that was used. Les Paul customs are always better just in pictures. No, man, I've got one here, my black one. I love that guitar. My black Les Paul custom is great. Got a really great sound. So, Chris says that the TGP is having a shit fit over the Mini SLO. It's just fun, man. I mean, I wrote a post on there because the guy was like, "This is an embarrassment." Oh no, maybe that was on my YouTube comments. because I did the video, said this is an embarrassment for Soldado. You know, they should have done this and that. And I was like, dude, it's just supposed to be fun. It's just fun. You can still get an SLO. You know, it's not like I quit making it and just started doing the other one. It's like don't overthink it. It's just supposed to be fun. Marshall did it too. I mean, they came out with the lead 12 in the little solid state with a little 112s. They're cute. You know, it's supposed to be cute. It's cute. Leave it alone. Have some fun. Take stuff so seriously. Worth buying 50-watt heads nowadays? I think so. 50 is a nice number to me. I like 50 watts a lot, you know. I don't think I ever need more than 50, to be honest. Did I miss a super chat from some? Oh, here's a couple. Yeah, Robert. Can you recommend a very good EL34 low watt 20 watt that you played? The King Royale from Top Hat. Look no further, man. That'll sound amazing with a Princeton. Top Hat King Royale. Make sure when you get one that it's there was a couple different versions in the event. The very early ones they were cool, but they had a not as deep of a cabinet. Then he came out with one of the deeper cabinet and more low end. I like that one. But that's the one I would go for. Great little combo. I mean, the Top Hat does really good, the AC30 with some modern tweaks, and that's what that is. It's a excuse me, King Royale. And the Club Royale it's the one I'm, you know, it's ELA4, about 20 watts, 15 maybe. Really, really good amp. Do it, Robert. Seek it out. Find one. If you can find a used one from 20 years or so ago, you know, get it. I think he still makes it now. So Brian was a guest on my show a while ago, maybe a year or so ago. Yeah. Going down to the bottom of the channel. I'm going to split in a minute here, you guys. But, oh my God, I got more people here than the rest of the... I guess I got to hang for a minute. Let me just check here because I'm supposed to meet a friend for lunch. 1 second. Not seeing it here. Okay. I'll just tell him 2:30. Okay. Still on my live chat. Should be all good. Okay, what's the difference between a Les Paul and Explorer that would be audible? I think. Why did my voice do that? I think that you know, my two Explorer style guitars are pretty different. I will say I have a Gibson Explorer. It's a black one. I haven't used it a lot. I don't think the pickups are a good match. For what's in it right now is a very hot kind of JB sort of thing in the bridge. That's from WB from years ago. The guitar always sounded very dark to me. It could be the pots. So I think it's got those 300K Gibson pots of the era in it. And with those hot pickups and the all mahogany body, mahogany neck, it's too dark, mid-rangey, blanket over the sound. So I don't know if that's a fair comparison, but my Destroyer from Ibanez, you know, my Van Halen style Destroyer, that's a very clear, punchy, really cool sound. And it's a different kind of thing. So I don't know. I mean, to me, a good Les Paul has more, like, if I got to go buy that other one, like a mahogany, you know, big slab of mahogany that, you know, we're talking a true traditional sort of Explorer here from the 70s through, not a Carino one. Who has those? Nobody. But, you know, the commonly available 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, they're all mahogany. An all mahogany guitar, it can be a little warmer and darker, I think, you know, generally speaking. And maybe you want to have a brighter pickup in them. That's what I think. Compared to a Les Paul with a maple top, Les Pauls can be a little more clear to me, a little more, have a little more air. Depending on the pickups, the Les Paul can be a mid bomb too. If you put, I guess it just depends, man, on electronics and pickups and stuff, you know. Yeah, here's Hip Metalworks. My 76 was very dark as well. Yeah, and maybe your 76 had gold pickups because they had gold hardware, and that'll dull the sound more. So, you know, all mahogany with all this dulling kind of stuff, they can be quite dark, you know. So I think maybe checking the pots in an Explorer and stuff, and then you know, making sure they're 500K and all that. It might be a nice guitar to have a treble roll off on, even, which I don't normally do on Les Pauls, but you know, and then maybe getting a good set of, you know, PAFE style, you know, something that are on the brighter side, you know, could be a good thing. Like a Duncan 59, probably great in an Explorer. If you've got a dark one, you know, something a little more cut, a little edgier. What else we got here? Let's see. Carina Premium cracks me up. Yeah, I mean like the 50s, you know, I'm saying like who's got a 50s, you know, Explorer? Like nobody has one, you know, because you can't. Wow, there's some neat spam here. Let's block that user. Goodbye. I think Ben already got it. Yeah, Ben got it before me. Let's see here. What else we got? Do your sound man impersonation again. You're gonna need to turn it down. This is so funny. What's everyone think about signature gear? There was an argument a little bit about, not an argument, but a guy went on my, you know, post on the gear page when somebody had posted about my new guitar, my new signature guitar. Should we look at it one more time? Because there's 400 people here. Look at it in red for those that just showed up. Come on. Anyway, this guy was like, don't get one of those. Order your own, sir, if you get a Sir guitar. Don't get the Pete Thorn, sir. And I was kind of like, can I just have like my moment where we introduce my guitar and it's a nice day for me? Does somebody have to piss on the thread already? But anyway, his point was, well, Pete's spec won't be what you want. My thing with my signature gear is signature gear is an interesting thing. This is the way I feel about it. Some of it might not be for everybody because of the specific nature of some signature gear for a specific player. Like someone, for instance, you know, I always say the John Petrucci's, the Steve Vais and stuff, they are stylists. And God bless them. They've become rock stars in their own right, and they're stylists, and they can do their own thing, make very distinct instruments. That's a Steve Vai guitar. That is a John Petrucci guitar with an interesting shape and everything. They're really cool. And to fans of them, of course, that's going to be you know, I mean, they've earned it. That's going to be a thing that they can get into. Well, my job is to be a side man, and you know, just that's the way I've come about in this business. I mean, I've got solo records, but I get a lot of gigs or whatever going on the road, playing with different people and touring with people where I might be going from this style of music to this style of music, you know? And so I need an instrument that fits in many times in many different genres. And, you know, we'll work, you know, 1 minute for Americana and the next minute, you know, maybe playing, you know, hard rock and all of the maps. So because of that, I feel like I exist in this place where my signature guitars are very, actually usable in a lot of different situations, like probably what folks out there might need if you're doing cover gigs, if you're in a wedding band, if you're in a, you know, the job's the same. If you're playing like a lot of different kinds of music, session player, you want to have one guitar to take to the gig. You can't haul a ton of stuff. You need versatility. So I exist in a little bit of a different realm than I think the rock star guys that have a very distinct signature instrument that, you know, they're brilliant, you know, but that's where my thing is with the signature. I'm trying to make stuff almost because it's for me. I'm a working musician that needs to do a ton of different things, you know, and the aesthetically, you know, the guitar needs to fit in a bunch of different situations so that, like, you know, depending on the artist I'm playing with, they won't look at it and go, "You're going to bring that on stage," you know, because some people might do that, you know, with different types of guitars or whatever. So I think I just exist in that. Like right or wrong, or maybe it's a fortunate thing, maybe it's not, I don't know, whatever. But so with signature gear, that's what I'm trying to do is my instruments are these versatile, some, you know, my amps too and everything, bit of a jack of all trades and a lot of different tones, a lot of stuff. So hopefully people, you know, if you're interested in my guitar more than that's the one that I play or whatever, it would be for that reason. I would think like this is a guitar that'll actually work in my country band, and I can also play in my rock band on the weekend and use it. You know what I mean? So T-Top says, appreciative of how much thought and attention goes into creating your signature stuff, world-class tools for the working musician. Thank you. You articulated. Thank you so much. That's really what I'm trying to do is just great, you know, great tools for me I want to be super happy with it so that I feel like I can use it in a bunch of different situations, and maybe that will help other people might find that interesting too and help them in different situations. It's yeah. So there you go. There you go. I gotta go soon, you guys, but I'll hang for another like 5 minutes or so. Had a chance to visit Whiskey Go Go on the trip to LA 2 weeks ago. Do you ever get a chance to see shows there? Yeah, I was asked to play there in 2 days actually, and I got to get back to the fellow that asked me because I feel like we lost touch on it. But I'm not going to do that this week, I don't think. But I would love to do it again soon. There's some great jam nights there and stuff, and yeah, the whiskey's always fun. I mean, it's one of those legendary places, that I hope never goes away. Yeah, it's an institution. So John Mayer went on stage with an EBH Frankie. I love that he did that. I love that when he plays the Jackson and the Charvel or whatever it's a Jackson or a Charvel, the blue one. He does stuff like that. It's cool. It's really cool. So sorry, the cold. I swear it's not COVID. It's a cold that I'm just remnants of. Yeah. Tom says PT15 IR is a great amp. I can say that. Thank you. I notice you don't use a Floyd Rose. Well, that's not true. I do sometimes. Not on my signature guitars, but I do have, if you watch this little Soldano mini demo, I have a Sir Modern that has a Goto Floyd on it, and I used that extensively. I even did a gratuitous dive bomb. This is my second to last video I did, so there you go. I use a Floyd sometimes. And on the Van Halen guitars I have, that I used with Mitch on the Van Halen gig, Van Halen themed gig, those have Floyds. I have a Floyd on the black Super Strat that's sitting right there. Right there. And there's the Van Halen 2 look, and that one right there, they've got Floyds. There's a number of Floyds around here. Occasionally it's the right thing. Occasionally it's the way to go. What else have we got here? Clem says he likes me more than John Mayer. I love John Mayer. I think John Mayer is a great guitar player, but thank you, Clem. But I've got mad appreciation for him. He's a nice guy too. He's cool. What days are you going to be at Sweetwater? Well, I'm going out there for the Gear Fest thing pretty soon. Which I still got to get a handle on exactly what we're doing out there and stuff, but it's in a couple weeks. And I think it's not a public thing this year. I think it's just because of COVID and everything else. I think we're going there and just making videos and stuff. A bunch of folks like Rhett and myself and Tim Pierce and all kinds of characters. Yeah. Well, guys, I should probably split. And I'm gonna go meet my friend for lunch. But this was really fun. Thanks for putting up with my rant. I hope I didn't. I don't know. Just every now and then I get passionate about it. I had to let it out. I love you sound guys out there. I want nothing but peace. Let's just have fun together. But please don't tell me to turn my amp down until you hear me play with the drums and the bass and the singer. And then I'll turn it down. If you really ask nice, if you're like, hey, man, can you just a little bit of kill me with kindness. Kill me with kindness. And I promise I'll work with you. I won't be a pain in the ass. I promise. I'll be nice. You know what? I don't care, man. Let's just go on in-ears and unplug the cabinets. And no, I'm just kidding. Everybody have a great week out there, and I'll see you next Sunday. I'll be here same time, same place. Remember, Ben Coombs, my faithful moderator, he's got a show this evening, and he's always here every week. And Ben, love you up there in Canada. How's it going, everybody, rock on. Oilers, come on, win a game, at least one in the series this week against Colorado. Please, it'd be amazing. You got to do it for the hometown. Come on, you can do it. All right. Take care, everybody. See you next time.